Why?
Got into a Twitter beef, bro.
Okay, let's go
Can't be
live
doing
and
that.
see what happens. Oh, we are live. Okay, so that wasn't an issue. You're
Yeah, I
live.
was like, oh.
Okay,
Hey,
so
dude,
that
Ripper.
should be good.
Oh, yeah, you are. You're alive.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna go to the track, but I had to get up early for a multiplayer playtest of one of our projects.
Yo, so you actually gonna buy some, like, PC glasses for you don't go blind? For the freaking blue light off your monitor?
It's not a bad idea.
Don't buy Gunners. Buy any other brand other than Gunners.
Yeah, like honestly,
But
by Friday, my eyes are just destroyed. But it's like I don't really know what else to do, right?
I mean, there's apps you can do. There's also some monitors that have it built in. But yeah, just getting some glasses will definitely probably help you.
Well, like I wear glasses, right? But
They make prescription ones of them for blue screen for a computer screen. You can write it off as a work expense because it's technically a work expense.
that's true.
Oh, do I want to play AC or do I want to play NR 2003? AC or NR 2003?
NASCAR 03, but learn how to do AI lines.
What do you
Drive
mean by
against.
that?
So you can actually hit a keyboard combination to record AI lines and overwrite like the default driving line for the AI cars.
Really?
Which, yeah, and like it's like Control Alt Shift and then the tilde key next to the number one. And
Control,
like
Alt.
you'll have to where are we dropping? Oh, okay. You'll have to. There is a guide online on how to do it and like all the steps and shit. And it's like it sounds like a lot just because the guy wrote it out in like super detailed steps. But once you figure it out, it's so easy. Because that's how I've been playing NRO3 lately. I don't race against the stock AI. I usually run a few laps and like make my own. And then when you're actually in the race, they brake where you brake, and they get on the throttle when you get on the throttle, and it's like being in a race.
That helped me a ton for like Bristol.
Yeah, like there's like NRO3's default shit is pretty good, but like there's certain things that like we've just learned over the past 15 years about stock car racing in regards to like line choice.
Well, it's because I'm driving like the newer version of Bristol,
Ah,
so it
yeah.
has like the banking where you can go up the
Yep.
track, right?
Yep.
And whoever did the freaking AI line sucked.
I
So
see a
here I'm
car.
rolling the
We could use that.
Yep.
so here I'm rolling the corner and the freaking AI car just stops in front of me.
Yeah, like you can set your own like you can set the low line, you can set like the high line, and you can set like the hot lap line, and it extrapolates between those three where the AI cars should be. And if you like, I mean, you know stock car racing, so that's not difficult to do. But like, just run some smooth laps, and it's that wasn't a car, by the way. That was a
That was
shell.
a
Yeah.
big rip.
I tell you, having this 2004 mod actually is kind of cool.
Yeah, didn't they redo like all the car bodies and shit?
Yeah, it's updated, so it's better than like their actual stock cup body.
Anyway, welcome to the show, guys. We're just playing some PubG again.
Yeah, man.
You got any questions? Anything you want to talk about? Sim racing or otherwise? Fucking feel free.
Be
This
like
is
open mic Friday.
yeah, it's like PRC after hours for the few people who still remember us. It's funny because like this year it'll be 2 years since the site's closed, and there are people who are still like, we miss the site, bring it back, etc.
Big field.
Hey man, I've always said like if someone approached me because I own the domain, right? If someone approached me and said like, hey, can I use the name? I want to start a sim racing site, and like I knew them and like I knew their work was good, I'd be like, okay, go nuts. And then if people ask, like if Ian was like, hey, like you can't do that or whatever, I'd just be like, well, it's not me, it's this guy.
Let me ask you a question though.
Okay,
What if you use a domain and just stream your streams on there?
that's lame.
Yeah, but people know the site and they would go to it. Use it technically as your own streaming
It's really
platform.
not the same. I do kind of
Yeah,
just I
I
like
don't think
being the
it'll make
hole
it.
in the wall thing.
Be like race fans only.
We're gonna talk about farmers only again. Is that where we're going?
Rip.
No, I said race fans only, which is John Gregorio's old stream
That's who it
for
was.
NASCAR.
I couldn't remember if it was G. Allen Lewis or John Gregorio.
Oh shit, my TeamSpeak button isn't working to turn up TeamSpeak
Rip.
on in our 2003. Interesting.
So I have
well.
one of those mini 14s. I don't know how good it is.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's like a slightly longer distance M16 that's single shot.
Okay, that's not bad then. Oh, hey,
It could
Brian's in
take-
here. If you still got the address, Brian, you can come hang out. I don't mind. Brian's our resident R Factor 2 expert.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier. That I don't know if I would even. Oh, we're not too far. We could like almost run into this circle, right? If we say fuck it and go through the city, huh?
Yep.
I think somebody probably landed at this city, but I hate this map so much that I don't. Well, I don't hate it. It's good on squads, but it kind of sucks if it's not squads. Earlier I was thinking to myself, I wouldn't even mind this new layout that they have with the matchmaking if this map just wasn't included in it. Like, if I rotated between this, the OG map, and let me rephrase that. Sandhawk, Vikendi, and the OG map, I wouldn't mind that 3 being like the forced rotation, right?
I've just felt that their map design in general is bad, but that's a different topic.
Oh, it is, because these 2 maps are way too big. I mean, they got Sandhawk right, but the rest, not so much.
My issue's always been that it still never feels to me like a city. Like, Sandhawk, it's like, who would live here? You know, maybe I think too much about that shit because, like, I'm autistic or whatever. But, like, you go through these villages and it's like, this doesn't feel like a real place. Like, you're, what's called, like, the suspension of disbelief. It doesn't feel like a real, like, place. Like, Battlefield, you could at least say, well, it's just, like, the front line. So just whatever. I found an AK.
Nice.
But, no, it's...
Like, you guys are actually making me have to pay the freaking EA access. Freaking nice try out the Battlefield freaking Battle Royale.
Don't buy Battlefield 5, or what was that?
I never heard anything about the Battlefield Battle
Yeah.
Royale, so I don't even know if it's worth your time, you know?
I don't either, but I played Battlefield 5 when it first came out. It wasn't bad.
I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was very good.
Same. I mean, graphically it was amazing looking, though.
Like, I had it on Xbox because it was so cheap because they realized how badly they fucking shit the bed.
Oh my god, speaking about shit in the bed, my game is right now. Holy shit.
It just was, like, not inspiring would be the best way for me to describe it.
What are my graphics doing right now? Holy shit.
I've heard the same thing where people played it and they're just like, I guess 3 maps are okay.
Yeah, that was a problem. There was not enough maps when it first came out.
And that just, like, literally drives me, not so much nuts, but that just makes me sit there and, like, oh, hang on. It's SLR time, baby.
Nice.
It just makes me sit there and wonder, like, how it's possible that a AAA title can release with, like, 3 fucking, like, maps.
Well, it wasn't 3 maps. I think they had 8 total, but the environments just looked so much the same.
No,
And they weren't really
wasn't
creative.
A lot of maps.
Yeah.
It was basically 4 maps, but it was just... They did, like, a drip feed on the event, like, of what, all the type things you could do. So, like, you had to wait for, like, 3 more months till this part came out, and then so forth.
Ooh, interesting topic. Also wants to know, what does the force feedback feel like in a real car? How do you replicate it in the sim? So, this answer is going to differ. Like, I usually give, like, a short answer to, like...
A level 2 helmet here, by the way.
I got one.
Okay.
I give a short answer on force feedback to troll people on sim forums, but this answer is going to differ, like, ever so slightly based on the car you're doing, and my experience is stock cars, so just keep that in mind. That door is open and I'm scared.
Yeah, there will be people here. I saw someone land here, so just be ready to fight if you
Yep.
need to.
With Hornets, like, I mean, it's you're driving a Chevy Cavalier, so at the end of the day, it's just like a streetcar power steering. Like, it's numb, it's simple, it's easy to turn. It doesn't really do anything. It's not hard to turn. When the tires are under load, like, it's not. There's some sort of like resistance on it, but it's not difficult. It doesn't tire you out for sure. The late model, again, like, we actually put a different steering pump in it to give me more feel intentionally. But when I started driving, the car came with like a pretty, I think it's a pretty big pump.
Hey, we got to start running ourselves in.
Yep. Yeah, came up here looking for a fucking scope. But no,
I got a 2 times. Yeah, I'll give you a 2 times scope, or 3 times actually.
That's all I really need.
3 times when we get back to it together.
Yeah, so the late model, we adjusted the steering pump to literally simulate force feedback for me, because I missed it. Even compared to the Hornet, it was just less of it. But I know most guys go for a decent pump, so you really don't feel anything, and it's just super light.
Uh-oh.
Are you fucking serious?
I need some help.
Where's the buggy?
It's right there. We can't get into it.
Oh,
right,
so this is our Hollywood moment. But yeah, like, power steering in general, it doesn't really feel anything. It's just kind of like that
I'm gonna drop
numb...
the scope for you, by the way, so we can... Here it comes.
Right. Where is he? Uh-oh. Well, we can get behind the Winnebago. Yeah, like, power steering IRL is just kind of like numb, and there's like the generic tension on it. So to simulate that in the sim, you literally just turn force feedback down to like...
This guy sucks, just keep running.
And it's going to be based on sim. But like, for me, I run anywhere as low as like 15 to 30% with just like a hint of centering spring. So like the FFB, let's say the overall FFB slider would be like 20 or 30, and it depends on the game. And then I'd add a centering spring in the Logitech profiler, and that'll, again, depend on the game. I'll do anywhere from like 15 to 20.
I've actually got good force feedback story when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay. So, I had to drop the M2 off today for service because the right tail light stopped working, like the left tail light. Isn't that great?
Yes.
All this technology, and they can't get the simple things right. But anyway, so I dropped it off. They gave me a loaner, the brand new 3 Series. And I could tell you right now, I have no idea what they are fucking thinking with the steering that they did on this. Like, it's like there's absolutely no feeling at all in the steering box. I just don't understand it. And then on the other side, it has this active lane departure shit on it as like a safety feature. So I tried to casually change lanes into the right lane on the highway, and the car jerked the wheel to the left because it thought I was leaving the lane unintentionally, and I almost had a fucking heart attack because the vague force feedback that the real car was giving me all of a sudden was pulling my wheel back to the left because it thought I was leaving the lane unintentionally.
That's kind of terrifying. That's like that Tesla thing you showed me. Mm-hmm. Whatever happened with that? Because that dude deleted the post eventually.
Yeah, the guy deleted the post because he probably got probably got suicided or something like that.
Yep.
But anyway, it's like Austin said. There's really not a lot of feeling, and if you've driven any of these new more modern cars, you'll realize that power steering has come to the point where it's like absolutely, completely and 100% eliminated any feel from all of these cars on the road. Hang on, I gotta heal.
It's supposed to be easy to turn the steering wheel, and like, I mean, there's an asterisk next to that. Like, some of the cars without power steering, like Indy cars, yeah, you can break your wrists if you get in a wreck. Is that the norm for auto racing? No. Like, if you're a big, let's say you're a DTM guy, or you run purely like sports cars like GT3, GT1, GT4.
This is
What?
kind of scary, by the way, because I'm projecting this guy has to be like almost directly to our left, right? And I'm just waiting for him to start shooting again.
We have to keep running. Like I'm barely gonna get
Yeah.
in, dude.
I have shit I could give you if you.
Well,
need.
I got 13 bandages, so we're okay.
Yeah, if you want to start bandaging, that's fine.
Yep.
Hey Chris, did you ever message Eric?
Oh, I was gonna actually ask you about that. I'd have to. Yeah, I could talk to him. Where does he live? Do you know?
Cali.
California.
Oh fuck.
Rip. But you know
That's
what?
gonna cost a lot to ship that.
No,
thing.
you know what? If he's doing stuff, because he's with Monster Jam, right? If he's doing stuff like on the East
Yeah, but
Coast,
he won't be coming to New York though.
that's true. Shit.
Yeah,
You
Monster
have to
Jam
take it
already
back on a
came to New
plane.
York.
You have to take it back on a plane. I forgot Augie knows who Eric is. Forget.
Yeah, there's footage on YouTube of us from like 10 years ago running monster trucks.
We're not very far if we just keep running straight.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Eric was such a good driver back in the day too. Like there was a point in the season when we ran that league where it was like we met in the finals or the final four like every weekend.
Could give him the team's information. Tell him to come get out sometime.
He's not on tour with Monster Jam right now.
Is he?
I don't know. I always see him on
He's at
Instagram like flying and shit, so he must travel a fucking lot for that job. That's pretty cool. So for those who don't know who we're talking about, this Eric guy, he won the Monster Jam Urban Assault Esports Championship in like 2008. So I mean, it wasn't esports, but it's what we now know as esports. They had like a competition on Monster Jam Urban Assault at the Monster Jam World Finals in Las Vegas. So he won that, and there's a video of him you can find from like over 10 years ago of him like celebrating and shit. And he actually, you know what? He goes back to fucking Drag Sim, but that's a different story. I think I met him on like Nitro Sim. You know what? I think I've known Eric the longest out of anybody in the community, and he's always been a good dude.
Drag racing and Monster
Yeah.
Truck, both of you guys are into. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, because he was on Drag Sim or Nitro Sim they called it, and then
I'm doing a full heal.
Monster Trucks, and then he got into iRacing, and then like as he was in iRacing, he ended up getting into photography, and he's really good at that too. Like everything this dude does, he's really good at. And he got, I think, photo creds for the NHRA, so he shot in Sonoma for a few seasons, and you can like see him on the broadcast. And he shot a ton of Monster Jam events too. And then I believe he worked his way up into, he's like a competition director with Monster Jam now. And I think he only does like the small arena shows, but like that's still pretty dope. Yeah, he's a really cool story.
I just sent him a Facebook message. Just come say hi. The only thing I said to him is tell him why or anything.
I really like. I mean, I've already did a video on the whole like history of monster truck games, but like the competitive scene for it really deserves its own video. But like it's hard to go through it because like of how shitty that community was at the same time as being really cool.
And we got fucked over again. We got not actually not so bad. Picado's a hot spot. I know we don't play this map often, but we're gonna have to go that way in a way. Go kind of south of it if you want, actually.
I swear I just saw a flash from somebody, but
I'll keep my pants on next time. Wait, what?
Hell.
my buddy from the track texted me there's only 7 super stocks. or Lucas Oil Sportsman cars today at EIR for their like Pinty Series warm up. Panic.
Oh shit, the Pinty Series race is there, right?
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow. And like I had tickets for tonight, and I looked at the set list for like the classes running, and I'm just like, well, I don't like the Joe Gibbs Mini Cup stuff. I don't like Baby Grands. If I watch Hornets, I'm just gonna get mad because it's not my Hornet friends racing. Cause like you can definitely tell like when guys are new or like just figuring out the cars versus like the guys I run
Doors
with.
have been opened here. Keep moving. We're gonna run into people soon, I would imagine. By the way.
Billy probably knows this better than anyone here. There's like certain series or certain groups of drivers. Even if they run the same car, like you can just tell when guys know what they're doing versus guys who just bought the car off of, you know, Racing Junk or Facebook, like the Facebook Racers page.
So, basically me when I get my modified, right?
No, but you're gonna have connections. That's the nice thing. Honestly, we would. We just hit up Dustin and be like, "Do you know anything?" And he'd probably be like, "Yeah."
Just get a setup sheet from him, and I gotta find somebody who actually knows how to wrench on cars.
You and Sal could realistically figure it out.
Me and Sal could probably figure it out.
I mean,
If I watch enough YouTube videos, I'm usually okay with building shit.
I mean, like, I'm one to talk because I don't do shit on my car and I pay other people to do it. But, you know, at their core, stock car racing hasn't progressed beyond the 1970s. And a lot of the shit you're gonna do at the track is, and I think we talked about this before, but just like tire pressures, your track bar shit, which you have giant bars for, your toe, which you set toe once and you basically leave it as long as you don't hit anything.
What coil bounding? By the way, this might be a good spot to be because we could probably use this second floor here to see anybody coming.
Oh, so even Billy started out one of those guys. There you go. That one's been tough running a sprint car with no knowledge. Hornets are at least easy because you can find like the meta tire, which for us was the Goodyear Assurance triple tread from like a certain manufacturing date because they changed the. My buddy got so intense into researching old shitty street tires that like he found Goodyear changed their compound past a certain date, so he'd ask like when this tire was manufactured. Like it got kind of meta, and maybe that's part of the reason they didn't really want us running there anymore because it was kicking the shit out of people. But no Hornets, it's literally just gut the car. Maybe
I had a set of Goodyear Eagle street tires on an old Jetta, and they always shook after like 70 miles an hour. And I took them to get balanced like 2 or 3 different times, and like they still shook. And I did some Googling. This is like way back when like, not when the internet started, more like when like there wasn't
way back when
there wasn't as much like failed like shit posting about stuff like that. But you started to find a lot of different people like complaining about those tires and how they just couldn't be balanced because Goodyear doesn't know how to fucking manufacture a tire.
Oh, Goodyear's horrible. That's not even a meme.
Yeah. It's like they literally do not know how to manufacture a tire. There's like, if you went on Tire Rack, like when Tire Rack was kind of like in its infancy, I guess you could say, and like their old comment section on this, the Goodyear F1 fucking Eagle asymmetrical all seasons, were like, these tires cannot be balanced. From like all sorts of people, and it's like, yep, that's the truth. So you see that play out every week in real life NASCAR too, right?
Yep.
I could tell you right now, I'm biased. Michelin makes the best fucking street tires, hands down.
I don't really care what kind of street tires you buy. I like my off-road tires.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
Like, it's whatever.
I got a set of Pilot Sport Cup 2s on my fucking M2. They're unbelievable. And I've got Pilot Sport fucking By the way, there's an extended mag for your DMR there. I've got Pilot Sport all season 3s on my Golf, and they have both sets of tires have so much fucking grip, it's silly. And it makes me cringe at the same time because of how sim racing makes you think that race tires kill you.
Jump into a 360 with no prior experience, that's me. Incredibly difficult, the car was constantly trying to kill me. Goodyear was bad when we switched to them from Hoosiers, that only lasted a few years. I can't imagine what it'd be like
car
to...
coming.
Uh-oh. To jump
They're
in
gonna come right to us.
and drive a sprint car with no experience. I'm in the window, by the way, so you should probably get in.
We gotta start moving, by the way.
Oh, fuck.
There's gonna be a car down to our left. Yep, he doesn't see us, that's okay. Are we gonna die to the zone, though? Because that would be an absolute meme.
No, we're gonna make it.
Alright.
What's interesting is, I don't know if you remember the story because it's a few years old now, but I saw Alex Bergeron do the iRacing thing, because that actually was at my local track, like 30 minutes from my house. So I've watched someone be thrown in a sprint car with no prior experience, and it wasn't the complete shit show that a lot of people anticipated. He actually did really well, but he had the track basically to himself for a whole afternoon. I would like to try driving a sprint car, but I think the reason I'm not really into it is just up here, every time I go to the sprint car races, it's kind of a wreck fest.
They're late model and have to be in Florida.
No, I mean, like, let's be real, I'm not that good. I'm not gonna go down and run against 80k race cars. Like, the nice thing about...
They're only 20k.
The nice thing about Edmonton is that everyone's kind of running, like, 15-year-old tech. And no one's really showing up with stuff that stomps the field.
I see that guy shooting. Am I unloading on him?
No, we're waiting.
Oh, they're at the fucking drop. Jesus Christ.
What? This map is so huge.
I'm bump driving with Brian Vickers. What the fuck am I doing?
Oh! I think, wow. That guy who just killed those people right there,
Okay.
he fucking sniped the person who was cooking the grenade, and it killed his friend because he dropped the cooked grenade.
I kind of find this interesting because we can have the high ground. This gets interesting. We have cover.
Keep moving.
Stop
Just
shooting
keep
them.
moving, because those idiots gotta come in behind us. I hit them pretty good, too, so that's more people weakened for us.
Yeah, this got real interesting. You got to use the height to your advantage here.
Yeah, I got tagged, but I've got health, so I'm not worried. Reminder that those guys are going to come in behind us. But we got to use this to our advantage.
Also, Billy, I should probably say that you are welcome to drop by our TeamSpeak anytime. We don't have a Discord or anything, but uh-oh.
Yeah, use the height to your advantage here.
I have no health left.
Come to me.
Actually, I got a painkiller. I got a painkiller.
I'm doing the American thing. I'm drinking more soda. Alright. By the way, where is this other guy who's sniping? Oh, one just died to the play zone. He couldn't make it in. Hang on. I got two people here.
What are you doing?
Oh, fuck.
Come back to me. Come back to me. No, come back to me. You can crawl over the hill.
Nope.
Okay, maybe not.
It's you versus two.
You fucking serious?
Pick up my SLR if you can.
They know you're fucking over there, though.
Yeah. I've got so many hit points.
I'm gonna fucking die because I don't really know where these dudes are. I was waiting for them to go to that hut.
I'll mark where they were. Hang on. They're gonna be here.
Oh. That's not terrible then.
They've got good scopes. That's the only thing going against you.
Like over there? Am I looking the right way?
Thinking maybe more towards here then. There he is. There he is. See him?
Stop moving.
Oh, oh boy. I don't know how you're gonna do this.
No. I got a couple hits in.
I had fucking 21 hit points. God almighty.
I'll send you the...
Sadly,
What the
we were
fuck?
not. We. That's like that's 2 out of 3 that we came in second.
That's not bad. Yeah, okay, I'll ping you the Twitter link, Billy. Or not the Twitter link. I'll ping you the link on Twitter. Messages.
My free cam, stop.
So I have dropped the link in your Twitter DMs. You should be able to just paste it into the TeamSpeak thing. That being said, like, we kind of, I mean, we're obviously quite foul-mouthed and just kind of go wherever, so I don't know if you're concerned about brand or being blacklisted by... No, and I'm not even kidding, like, would people get mad if, like I guess, like, a proper YouTube sim streamer kind of guy was, like, associating or, like, talking to us? Would they get in trouble? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. You have a peak iRacing crew chief talks to you all the time,
That's true.
and they work with Roush, so
That's true.
I don't think Roush gives a fuck.
But, like, people don't really know that. Like, Dustin was saying he was on TeamSpeak one time, and, like, one of the guys, like, they just had onto their peak team was like, oh man, like, I missed the PRC site. Like, whatever happened to it? Because he just didn't know, right? he's like that was me and Austin. He's like, you know that guy? You know Austin from PRC? He's like, he drives my fucking car. And it, like, was a fucking eureka moment for the guy. I forget who that was, but...
To be fair, he has a lot of idiots on that team, just to be fair with you.
I don't even know who's on it, to be honest. Like, I know Malik's on it. I know...
They're like, Brandon Cattell's on there, Kevin McAdams.
What's their name? And more important... Oh, shit, Senhook. What's their name? And more important, is it, like...
I don't even know what their name is. I just go over there to hang out. Like... They have so many different people on that team speak, it's not even funny.
Well, and because the iRacing fuckfest with Peak, it's like there's like the alliances behind the scenes, and then there's like the fake teams that they used to like show everyone on the standings.
Well, the Roush teams aren't even like teammates. Like the 17 and the 6 aren't teammates actually, even though they're teammates.
Easy.
Yeah, like that was the thing too. Like you had your old school iRacing teams with like Slip Angle and HBM
But
and stuff.
that's who all the teams are still on. But now,
yeah, like what
iRacing
the
calls
fuck
them
is
by his
this?
other team.
Yeah, like
Oh yeah, the
It's sponsorship
draft
kind of stuff.
Thank you, Stuart Haas Racing, for giving me this great opportunity. Like and subscribe. 250 viewers over the course of a year.
yeah. Let's go to the
Wait.
normie spot.
Wait, Billy talks about you on the Sim Pit stuff. I need to go back and watch this now. Oh, Sim Pit, I just don't watch this stuff all the time.
I've like, and Ethan and I had talked about this. Might have been yesterday's stream or the night before, but like, it seems like the faster you get, the less relevant normal sim racing content is to you. And like, I'm an elitist prick, and I acknowledge that, and it's a character flaw, and that's something I should probably try and work on. But like, a lot of times when I see like YouTube content, really from anyone, my first thought is just like, you're slow. I don't really care what you have to say. And it's horrible. It's horrible that I think that way, but that feels like the spot I'm in.
There's 2 people going to roadhouses. Few people went to the right to the coastal shit. I don't think anybody went to the camp, which is interesting.
Is that Ethan who popped on?
Oh no, there's
Yeah.
4 people coming to. There's 4 people going to camp.
Ethan on his phone though, is what it sounds like.
He's got on the fucking direct hotline to Rich Energy.
Yeah, yeah. It's finicky, that's the voice.
The audio, bro, is so bad, and I don't even complain about that stuff, but it's like, it's definite phone audio. Oh.
Did you forget to take the microphone out of the box?
This is bathtub underwater, Ethan.
Ethan,
Like
turn the microphone on.
This is like literally radio free Ethan right here. Like
Ethan's broadcasting from his ham radio.
No, he's actually in a tree right now, spying on his neighbor's panties.
I'm looking for Billy's fucking milk, man.
He didn't deny it, so...
I just hear something about milk or MILFs.
Either. It could be either.
this is literally underwater Ethan.
I'll get on to Ethan.
Peeping Tom, Ethan, this is Doug in the booth. You got a copy?
I came forward. I got a copy on you, buddy.
What do you think about today's race and any strategy going into this long hot day?
Fuck.
How am I take your order, please?
I got a team of good guys behind me, and most of all, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and give me a great ring for today. Amen.
And we've returned to the 1974 World 600.
No, I think we had a better connection than frickin' the moon.
Down, want to go down? Just go that way.
One small man.
Actually,
Houston, we have a problem here.
let's go this way. No. Actually, we'll get killed that way. Yeah, fuck it. Go south. I feel like south along this way is probably the least likely of us getting killed.
Oh, and we can go on top of that bridge. I like that. I need a scope. But
I've got a hollow sight I could give you if you want.
Billy's like, I'm sure certain devs already don't like me. Oh, did you get in a fight with iRacing 2? Join the club. I wonder if Billy's got a phone call. That'd be like the fucking trifecta right there.
Trying real hard. We gotta avoid bond and all that shit.
Oh my god, my FPS just dropped. Holy shit.
You're playing Battlefield Vagina?
The what? Oh my god, Ethan.
I'm gonna ban him from the server so he goes to bed.
It sounds like he's like literally making sex to his fucking like phone and talking to us at the same time. Yes, that's right. I said making sex.
I mean, Ethan would probably like get off this if he actually understood what he sounded like.
You will never connect to TeamSpeak via ham radio and shitpost.
I swear, we've gone like back to like 1996.
No phone call yet for Billy, so it's coming, maybe.
The only thing that kind of upsets me about the fact that you stream this on YouTube is that you can't stream radio when we get in cars because it'll get you fucking like banned.
We could do it on Twitch, but I've built up my YouTube channel, and that's where the people follow me on.
Oh, sorry.
Ripperoni.
And Twitch, I have an issue with the Twitch thoughts, so it's more of a personal thing where I just don't want to support that company if I don't have to.
Fuck police.
Hey, is that
Why
Ethan?
we're not gonna get our Austin bathwater? Is that what you're saying?
Oh my god.
Yes, I had a frog in my throat. My bad. No, I was trying TeamSpeak on my phone through like my earbuds. The little
Oh,
mic in those. So
yeah, it
That
was
was the
like
worst idea ever.
It was pretty awful.
It's pretty ham radio tier.
No, I think we had a better connection to the moon, though. Seriously.
Everyone used to get on Ventrilo from your car when you were in your car for a while, Austin.
Oh yeah, that was fucking based. I fucking...
I remember you Skyping with
someone's
me and
close,
Steve
by the
on
way.
the way to somewhere.
I miss the days of Ventro.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? What does he do? What does he do? What does he do?
You okay?
No,
Yeah.
there's a Ventrilo clip of
Yeah.
soundboards.
Come this way.
Oh.
I think it's
I got a ring in there last night.
I think it's like
Drop your pants.
there's one where they use like Arnold Schwarzenegger's kindergarten cop sound bites. There's another one with Duke Nukem where he just spams blow it out your ass until the chick starts freaking on him.
Blow it out your ass.
Blow it out your ass.
Just all the best Duke Nukem quotes.
I've got balls.
And it's not like a gaming server, it's like a work server.
Yo, do you remember when we got Aussie shit posted on fucking TeamSpeak like a couple of months ago, Austin?
Yeah, I got that recorded.
Yeah.
That shit went on YouTube.
We got fucking Aussie shit posted by a drunk Australian. It was amazing. He just fucking came into the server and was just like calling us cunts for like the better part of 30 minutes.
Oh, I remember that. Fuck you very much, mate. Ah, you're a cunt. Fuck you very much.
And then like the only coherent question he answered all day was Holden versus Ford. He understood that one.
Yeah.
Like Aussie man is so drunk, he's just like rambling about random shit. We're like, hey, Holden or Ford, and like the only coherent thing he said all night.
Which one did he say again? I forget.
Might have been Ford.
He was one sick cunt, mate.
I still pray for the return of creepy strokey penis man. Tried to get pizza off.
Which one was this?
He was the guy who fucking came in here like after the stream ended. Like it was one of our races, maybe the Super Trofeo, and he was just like he was having phone sex with us, and you tried to just get him to order you pizza.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
You're having phone sex on TV? What?
No, there's like some creepy dude who came in, and I just like did not give a fuck at all, and like gave him my neighbor's address and said like you should order me a pizza, and then like he left, which was very strange.
Yes, less strange than what was going on beforehand.
I don't know, like usually like there's a bit of reverse psychology going on, but I don't know. I figured, well, okay, let's see how far this guy actually goes, and gave him my neighbor's address and said, here's my local pizza joint, like send me a pizza, and he just left.
Rude.
Native American Factor 2 League guy is still my #1 favorite, I think.
I don't know. I was playing Uno on Xbox 360 one time. Had the most ape shit guy join the game.
Yo, do you remember how hard people used to go on fucking Uno?
Yes.
Yo, Uno
Yes.
was out of fucking control.
It's
what would go on?
it's true.
Uno was fucking off the walls, bro.
No, I was in on this shit too. I didn't have a webcam, but I saw this shit. It was so
Dude,
there.
Uno was fucking insane on OG Xbox. Dude, like that was really like that was like the Xbox days that like everybody wishes would just come back.
Right?
Like, you know, where like you could just be like you could have a fucking absolute brawl with somebody, tell them that you're gonna like kill each other's mothers, and then like and then it's like, yo, I'm gonna send you an invite. You want to play again tomorrow? And it was like, okay.
No, okay. So for Ethan, there's probably footage of this on YouTube somewhere, but there was a really good like $3 Uno officially licensed game on the 360.
Yeah.
It was just like
Yeah.
the Xbox Live Arcade shit,
4-player.
Yeah.
and you could
It
use
had
your
the webcam.
yeah.
And
You,
it was like
like
when
the
the
first
webcam
game.
first came out, you could fucking load up your webcam for fucking Uno, bro. And
No.
it was wild. There'd be like some dude from the hood with like his fucking kids fighting, cursing, his baby mama screaming, some like little fucking pasty white cracker, you and like some random redneck.
No, you missed one. You missed the old guy that comes in and says, "Hey, you want to see my wrinkle stick?" We're like, "No, no."
I got guys running. I
And the
think
next
I
thing
saw.
you see
Actually,
this shriveled
I
up
gotta,
little freaking prune coming out.
I gotta
I have no
admit,
scope.
it might have been a leaf, and not you, Leaf.
Fucking leaf posting. No, Uno was wild.
Day of
Look.
Rake when?
Look, I can legit go tag a guy on freaking Facebook right now from my Uno days and say, "Hey, you want to see my wrinkle stick?" And he's gonna flip his shit out because he was the
From
one that was
my
playing Uno
Uno
with
days.
me.
And people would like try and one up each other too, because like it turned into a meme after a while. Like it on the, do you remember like Xbox itself had the official forums?
Yeah.
And like it word started to spread that Uno was crazy. So like guys would go in like full Nazi regalia and like just like play Uno on their fucking webcam. Dude, like peak internet before all the SJWs ruined it was Xbox Live Uno.
And he had
Yeah.
the furries.
Dude, we're gonna have to YouTube this at some point later, and see if we can find what we were just talking about. Like if there's Uno shit that people recorded.
Oh, probably. It rings a bell. I've heard about this before.
Billy's saying he started doing reviews lately and it's strained some relationships. You should come tell some stories. I put my neck out there. You don't have to go like full into details. You could just like allude to devs
There's
or whatever.
another mutant in this building.
Server on Xbox Live Uno. That sounds pretty accurate.
Yep. That's like
Come here, I got presents.
Videos from 8 years ago.
that sounds about right. Okay,
And
thank
a
you for
comp.
3x.
Put the comp on too.
Okay, I've got the comp on, I think. Yeah, Uno's craziest is unmatched.
Oh, triple front flip in fucking Steel Titans.
We should probably stay inside for the time being.
Oh my god. Holy
Right.
shit. Go
I've
3
got
minutes into
silencers
this.
on both my guns, so I could just unload.
Ethan,
What?
3 minutes into that video.
I'm in Steel Titans right now. I'm a good little shill.
Fuck. To play this on my... No, actually, this will get Aggie demonetized.
Yeah, don't play music.
Not
That's
music.
like the only rule.
or old
Not music.
or old fucking guys getting naked on Uno.
What if it's Hornbuckle?
Probably was.
Yo, do you remember back in what game? Rainbow. None of you guys probably
Chocolate
played
Milk
Rainbow
Kid?
Six. No, Rainbow Six Vegas.
chocolate milk.
The first Rainbow Six Vegas, you were able to put on the game your own face into the character, and it was fucking amazing.
Yes, I've seen Achievement Hunter play that.
And like, yeah, you could be like whoever you wanted to be. And I remember Ricky Bobby was like the only person in the world who had his own face with a bandana in the game. It was actually really cool. Like he was wearing like a bandana like half over his face, and it was his face. And it was actually like the only person in the world who probably did that.
And
I had like
kind of
50
pulled it
cent.
off.
50 Cent was like mine. I think Sal was like Floyd Mayweather or something like that. And like yeah, we would run. I would run as 50 Cent with just like no shirt, just black pants and a bulletproof vest with a black bandana on, and like he would do the same but like as Floyd Mayweather. And like Ricky Bobby was like the only person on planet Earth who had his own face and like a bandana. Like he put a bandana on his face as the character. And I don't know why, but it's probably because people were making themselves Hitler or putting penises on their face instead of actual faces. That's why we can't do that and have fun in games anymore.
Oh, you could fuck some serious shit up. Like I'm not saying like
We gotta run.
I'm not saying I know how to obtain it, but like one dude puts child porn on that shit, you have now fucked everybody.
I got an idea. Let's go across and be on that side because I hear people shooting on our side.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably a mistake either way, but let's see what happens, right?
What if you just like spread your cheeks and scan your butthole. So it's just like a bare like head with just the
But-
fucking butthole in the middle of it.
But no, but that's what Chris is saying is like, it got ruined. It really did.
Yeah, I mean, people were making themselves like Hitler and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
which was easily predictable. But I mean, like, it was so fun to like just have like, you know, people. Mostly, I'd say your most common one that you saw was like a clown or like some sort of celebrity, like, you know what I mean. But like, it was, you know, that was back when, you know, you could have fun on Xbox Live, and
Yep.
you know, saying some sort of profanity, you know, didn't get you in trouble.
Yep. Oggy, I should be Derek Bailey, and you should be Min Tanaka, and we'd just fuck up public servers.
And where's this?
In that game where you scan your face, Rainbow Six, whatever.
Servers are probably turned off.
There's
a
nothing good
crate.
here.
Okay.
Nothing good.
Oh my
It was
God.
looted.
Given your technicalities.
Fuck that.
I think Vegas still runs on PC because I think it was private. I think it was peer-to-peer matchmaking.
Yeah, see?
Brian says we should talk about ACC. That's not a bad idea.
I think ACC is very good, but I don't understand why nobody really plays it, or why sim racing system is still on only original AC. I mean, I thought it felt really, really good. I mean, one of the things that I'll say about it is something that I feel like a sim should be is intuitive, and what I mean by that is that it felt like what I would expect driving that car to drive like.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It
and
feels really good, but it's just like shit, like, you know, not
oh,
scoring
is that
championship
you or
points.
is that
No.
other people?
Other
Like,
people.
screw that.
Get to the deck.
The moment I found out that it doesn't score championship points in career mode, instant uninstalled. No desire to play it again. Yeah, they're behind the houses over there.
And all the masturbatory physics posts are just, it's just, nah.
So close. That's a Mark 14.
I can barely
I see him.
see
I see him. I see him. I hit him. Oh yeah, he's so far.
The fucking...
Not.
Just let him. Do you want to go... Oh, it's clearing up now. Panic? We should almost run.
He's gonna die. We gotta run. Fuck
Oh,
him.
uh-oh.
He was knocked behind cover. He's not gonna live. Go down to the right because the guy with the Mark 14's up to the left. Yep, he died. I fucking love this mutant. Is that it, you?
Nope.
Alright, keep running.
It's foggy enough where we can stay out of the line of sight.
Uh-oh! To our right, to our right.
What the fuck am I supposed to do? Oh, well, it's top 10.
Yeah. Kill and a second place. We're not doing so bad so far.
Yeah, we got lit up there. Rip. The fact that they caught me on the run and no cover and I'm having like strafe back and forth. I didn't hit him at all. Love the way ACC looks, hate the way it drives.
I love how it drives. I think it's the best feeling GT3s on PC, honestly.
I love how it looks. I don't think it looks amazing. Well, let me phrase that. I think it looks okay. I don't think it looks like an otherworldly like some people say it does. But I think it's probably it felt the most intuitive of any sim I've ever driven. It's
Yeah.
just you can call me, you know, like lazy or whatever you want to call me though. But my big issue is like I just want to click play and have other people to play against.
Yeah.
That's just my big issue with it right now. And that was largely the issue when AC came out originally. There was literally nothing to do in it. You know? AC was amazing. We played the shit out of it for like how many months in a row? Like about 7 or 8 months in a
Many.
row. And then we were like, alright, when are we going to actually get to do something? and it didn't happen for a long time.
And now it has, and life has gotten in the way. But
Or did it?
that's true. I keep saying to come out for a SRS race, and the P-Cars 2 shit starts up next week. I mean,
Yeah,
even,
The only thing that sucks is I work on Thursdays, and by the time I get home and have dinner, it's like already you guys are racing. Yeah.
like, I know the Cup car is, like, below average, but we've put up with some shitty cars in AC just to have a place to race.
We're gonna
Yeah,
try
really
the coast and get a car.
Yep. I'll go right. Like, Super Trofeo for me has just been, like, sad to drive.
yeah. I still do kind of want to try and close out that championship, but
See, like, for me, I got to a point where it's like, what do I have to gain from beating Will for, like, the 50th time?
that's very true.
Like it's fun to win because, like, not everyone gets to win a sim race, right? Like, there are a lot of people who come out every week or every night on sim racing system, and they run like 7th. Uh-oh, there's people there. So, like, I appreciate, and you probably do too, but, like, we probably appreciate the fact
Oh
that, like,
shit! A lot of people went to this town.
we're at the top of the totem pole.
Yep.
And that, like, we get to win races and beat people, but, like, again, I watch Will's streams, and, like, no offense to the dude, like, he is a pretty good dude, but, like, I see this dude wreck, like, 2 corners in, and it's like, why would I take the hour out of my night to just beat someone like that when they can't get more than a couple corners in without, like, self-spinning?
I had to avoid my original plan because there was like 6 or 7 people who went that way.
Maybe I'm maturing a bit. Because, like, I wouldn't have had that mentality 5 years ago, but it's just, like, why?
I had nothing better to do at that time, really, and it's a place to race without, having to go for a league and all that.
No, and it's true, but, like for me, I've started to use this time to play, like, other games, like PS2 shit. Or just, like,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Go out and grab dinner.
Yep.
But, like, the big stuff, like, Sean Seabrand's league has been pretty fun, even though I haven't run all the races. But that's mostly because of track.
Plus, it's got like a legit championship feel because a
Yeah.
lot of the same dudes like show up. I can name several names that I like
Yeah.
recognize.
Hey, we really need a car. This is an issue.
Yeah, we do.
Dude, that Silverstone race though in the T125s, what an event! That was really cool.
Sure, Canito. Aim. It's hard when you're strafing. I'm bad at these games. Our entire tactic in PUBG revolves around avoiding everybody until there's like 10 to go, and then just hoping people don't shoot us and we can pick off like 2 people at the end.
I like if I hear people, I like to try and sometimes be aggressive. It worked for us last night. That last game, I felt like I was being aggressive the last 2 rounds that we played, and it worked. It almost won us that one.
The last game was great. Or not the last game, the last
The
night.
last game, no, the last
Yeah.
game was great because I got how many? I think I got like 4 fucking kills that last
You
round.
had 4, I had 3,
Yeah,
which is
That
like unheard of for us.
yeah. Like I said, being aggressive. If you know where the people are, and you've got like the advantages, like height, all that stuff. It's better to be aggressive in many cases. Because a lot of the gun battles in this game, because of the way the latency is, come down to who literally
Are you
starts
fucking
putting
kidding
shots.
me?
What happened? So, oh no, no,
I'm still looking for a car, are you?
yeah, oh man, oh fuck,
Beg for the sweet release of death. Well,
rip. Well, I will try. Got 2 minutes to find a fucking car, so.
you have to go so fucking far. Get your helmet, get your...
Absolutely painful.
What up?
Fuck it, run. How'd I get to Cosmodrome?
I think they realized somebody else joined TeamSpeak. By the way, guys, Billy's on TeamSpeak. He said hi.
What's up?
Hello.
Hey, hey. Might have to boost your mic. Yeah, it takes a while to set this shit up. Fuck, we got a party going in here.
This is going to be mostly me zooming in on stuff that I think looks like a car, and then just realizing I'm never going to get there. So enjoy the next minute, guys.
Strange is gonna come in with his like professional audio quality mic.
I've already boosted him to the max because the high was quiet, so I'm fully ready to get my ears blown out right now.
There you go.
That's actually disappointingly okay.
Yeah, I'll crank up
Oh.
your volume too.
Oggy, I won the Monster Jam.
You know what's horrible about that game? It shows the same win animation after each round.
Oh yeah, we got a car.
Yep. But I mean, so does Codemasters F1, so like...
Find a helmet real quick, and then we'll get the fuck out of here.
So Billy, who have you pissed off?
Well,
Oh. Well. Days since I've used TeamSpeak, I was trying to see if Mike was quiet. Boy.
I think I've boosted you to like 6 decibels, which is fine.
I'll put you on 7.
Going 50. Yeah, I kind of feel like well, I know for sure iRacing does not particularly care for what I say, which is weird because I praise them when I think they do things right, which is what I feel like I do with most devs. I'm fairly certain Kunos does not want to have anything to do with me either.
Yeah, but he's a fucking... Stefano's just a big bitch anyway, so that was bound to happen if you said anything.
Yeah, that was bizarre, because last year I did their whole E3 thing for them. They were all stoked for me to give them input, and when I said it felt like original AC, they kind of looked at me like, what?
So this seems to be a theme now with devs just becoming like hypersensitive to criticism.
Which I don't understand. I don't get it.
Especially from real drivers as well, which you've had experience with. Double makes no sense.
I mean, I have a theory, and it's the same theory that Dustin's kind of proposed, so I might as well just say it's his theory. But maybe because the sales just aren't there for sim racing like there are for like normal video games, they're scared the venture capitalists and the investors who pump a lot of money into these outlets are scared that any little review can disrupt the investors enough to just yank everything.
Right. But again, I don't think that's my issue. I mean, that's just not my problem.
Well, and you're right, it's not. Like, it's not your fault.
Why don't you like my video game? We made this game for you, motherfucker. Like it.
Well, I mean, I get it. When I was developing the dirt stuff with iRacing, I mean, those guys were putting in a shit ton of time. I couldn't believe the hours that these guys were working, so I get it.
Well, here's the irony about that. I hate to cut you off, but that's their best stuff. Their dirt stuff is somehow the best stuff that they did in their asphalt sim.
Well, and I wanted it more. They didn't want to push it too far. Which, again, they're selling a product. I understand. They were already afraid it was going to be hard enough. So, I don't know. That was a weird thing, because they were all cool, and then when I said it's not ready to release, they got all weird about it.
Well, then they made it worse, so.
Well, yeah, well. That's a whole nother...
I think maybe devs are just egotistical assholes.
That's
Yeah, don't talk about yourself like that.
Might be that too.
I don't know. Like, I think it's interesting what Billy's saying here, because he points at a bigger issue. Is they were worried it would be too difficult, but isn't the point of a sim just to simulate? Like, just
That's what my point was. Like
like
they're
why
trying to,
you know
yeah,
you
you're trying to make this an quote unquote authentic experience. And I was like, well, the car does this, and the track does this, and you know, this is the things you should do. You know, I understand if your tech isn't capable of doing that, that's one argument, but that's not the argument that's being made, and we've seen them make changes to the dirt and to the tires and the shocks and that nature to do whatever they're doing. I mean, did that whole thing. I said, I really don't think you should, you know, I know I'm stepping out of my bounds here, but I really don't think you should release this yet, mainly because, you know, I put my name on it, in a sense.
Yep.
People knew that I was working on it, and I wanted to put out something that I was proud of. And I was like, it's not quite ready. And they had some internal debate, and I'm not saying I'm the one that made them not put it out, but they finally came to the resolution that they delayed it, whatever it was, 2 weeks, or I don't even remember what it is now because it's been what, 3 years. So it's an odd thing to get somebody like myself and like Christopher Bell that will. Christopher Bell runs in Sims and he races in the real world, so has a good perspective, and to have two guys that were literally putting in work week trying to help them, and to not go the extra step is an odd thing to me.
Well, I don't know.
that approach makes sense when you're making a console game. It does.
Sure.
Like I don't know. I don't want to lump like R3 into that, but like, what are some console games I can see for GT Sport them saying behind the scenes, like, you know, we're gonna be shipping this to millions of people. Millions of people will play this. Not everyone knows how to drive a race car. We have to make concessions. But on the flip side, when you're iRacing it, it's like you said, like you're advertising it as a super authentic thing. You know, and that's why people are buying it, and that's what you're paying. I hope you guys got paid for that if you're putting in work week hours, which I don't know. It's probably NDA, and I probably can't go there. But you're putting in all this effort, and you're following your marketing campaign to a T, and you're not bragging, but you're proud of the fact that you're recruiting real drivers to act as legitimate software testers. And at the 11th hour, you're turning around and saying, no, it's too hard for Johnny FIFA. Like, why does that matter?
Maybe
Well,
it's
yeah.
different because it's internal training software, but like I was dragging Coty like away from building shocks to like, please come test this while we have the ability to tune like the ground and the suspension in real time, and like we took all of his advice on and tuned it to match, and it turned out absolutely fantastic. So I, as a sim dev myself, I don't understand either.
It was an interesting experience because I enjoy problem solving, and I mean, you can look at the AI that I like to
Yep.
mess around with now that Austin showed me how to do
That
in
shit's so
AC.
fun, is it not?
I like doing that. Like
I need to
I
get into that.
enjoy figuring it out and getting into the nuts and bolts of how does this work? How can I make it work? How can I be more proficient at the process? That kind of thing. So, like when I have nothing to do, I will just literally play around with the AI in Assetto Corsa because, quite frankly, it's relatively easy to do.
I gotta
Yeah.
run. I saw somebody coming to me. You see that, Austin?
Yep.
Yep.
I want
Oh
to-
no, this is a problem. Fuck
I
me.
want to load my MP412C with the setups I used for my world records and make like an entire pack of AI for the stock Kunos tracks, because it is pretty dire. Like turn one at Silverstone is just like, oh god, why? So I might do that if I'm extremely bored one day.
Well, and it's got simple tools to facilitate that, which is the nice part.
Yeah, Austin's told me all about it.
Yeah, like, and the way it works, it's like you essentially just drive a path with the car. So you drive like the left side edge of the track, and you essentially define where like the no man's land is. You drive the right side edge of the track. Again, how far you want the AI running out there, and then you run like the hot lap line, and then the AI, Kunos' underlying AI engine is really, really good, and it just extrapolates from the barriers you've set and then the racing line you've set, and the whole process takes like 8 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah.
If you know the track and you got a good setup off the bat, 8 minutes and you fixed the track completely.
Dude, like the pack you released, the IMSA Champions AI, incredible. Like it changed the game. Seriously.
That took like less than an hour to put together. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You can take it a step further. Now that I've played with it more, you can set up where if they're slightly too slow in a corner,
yep,
you can boost their speed and make them dial it back if they're running a line that's just, even though you've run the line and you've shown them the line, they just won't do it. And like I've been helping those guys with the oval stuff just because I find the oval stuff kind of a challenge to make it look like the AI is running correctly. And now I've got it figured out for the most part that they'll run 2-3 wide, they'll run side by side. Like it's actually kind of cool watching it because you're like, oh hey, that kind of looks neat.
Yeah, I think I follow that AC NASCAR group, and they've got a ton of stuff. They got like a Gen 6 car. They've got the 06 series.
Ooh.
I like the 98 Cup car that they came out with. That one's actually probably my favorite.
All right, I'm gonna need a link to this group, lad.
I was about ready to say the same thing.
And they're are they running like the Splash and Go car models? Because I think it's all just stuff that Splash and Go released for NR03, and then upscaled. Because
I don't know. I think that the older stuff is. I'm not sure about the 2019 cars that they're working on right now. Because
what an idiot that guy was.
Don't mess with that.
Like right now.
What the fuck was he thinking? He just gave me all fresh fucking level 3 gear. What an idiot.
I'm playing a 2004 mod right now in NR 2003.
Austin, tell me you just saw that.
That was hilarious. Did he jump out the window?
He thought I was going to go into the building and he was going to come in the building behind me by jumping out the window, except I never went in the building yet.
So he just fell on top of you and fell on your bullets.
Do you have anything worth? Motherfucker.
And you don't even gotta go very far, too. Maybe...
Get that, he just gave me a fucking Mark 14.
A couple 100 yards?
Gave me a fucking Mark 14. I've never fucking had this game on PC yet.
I'm watching the stream, I just have it muted. I just saw the guy fall out of the window.
Yeah. this guy just gave me all crate weapons. What the fuck was he doing?
Christmas here.
Yeah. He jumped out he gave me all level 3 gear and a crate weapon.
Well, you can tell as Chris is shooting, Chris is just confused because he's like...
Just kind of stands there.
Yeah.
There's like, what are you... Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Chris is like still up down his iron sights as the guy's on top of him, and he's just like, oh, okay.
Thanks.
PUBG's wild for that shit, though.
Yeah, that guy probably was like, I just made like a 9,000 IQ move, and like was like, nope, that was pretty dumb.
Well, let's circle back to the iRacing stuff. When they did release it, then they went on to release the non-wing car, which they didn't ask me about at all. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I made the wrong impression at the very end. I don't know. But then, like, the non-wing car got released, and I was like, dude, this is not right. And so I messaged the guy that I've been working with, was a super nice guy, by the way, and I said, what happened? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, this is not how a non-wing car drives at all. Like, oh, well, you know, you got to get used to them all. Really? You're telling me how long did we work on the other car?
You know nothing about this car. Shut up. You just gotta learn how to drive it the iRacing's way. Come on.
So
this is how you drive this car. Don't worry.
Right. So I'm the one that fixed it. I fixed the non-wing car. What happened was we figured out that the chassis didn't have enough flex in it.
And it was just that
So-
simple?
Yeah, because what happens with the car that they released, which I kept arguing that the car needed more bite on a tacky track with the wing car. Like, it should hike up on the right rear. If you slam into the cushion, try to do a wheel stand. Like,
Okay.
if you don't keep momentum up in those cars, they're trying to go everywhere but straight. Non-wing car was like it was completely pinned down. It didn't react. I'm like, I just kept telling him, I said, this doesn't feel right. I said, the left front should be lifting and hiking through the corner and all these different things that the car should be doing, and it's not. And we played with the tire a little bit, and it was interesting to go through the tire process with him and hear, like, okay, I'm going to change this block, so I'm lengthening and then shortening, and I'm putting in extra blocks or taking them out. That all changes how the tire reacts. And I was like, yeah, it kind of feels right, but it's still, like, these things are wild. And all of a sudden, he's like, I wonder. And he goes in and starts looking at something, and he goes, here, try this. And I took it, I was like, whoa, what did you do? This is way better.
Oh, wow, I was surrounded.
Rip.
That was not good.
You're telling
Yep.
me I should go try the
I don't know if
9
it'll, I don't know if it'll play through, but
Don't
the
do it
shot,
now.
The shot that killed me was from my left rear. That was fucked. Okay.
Did you say don't do it now?
You salvage that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they changed it.
Oh,
I
Damn
had-
it.
I had that
Never
guy in
mind,
front of me
Arson.
covered, but yeah, the shot that killed me was from left rear.
They have
Taking a piss and I'll be back.
I don't know who they talked to. So I don't, but they changed the non-wing car, and it's like somebody thought that the car should drive like the wing car. So it's pinned down on the left rear, like it feels odd. Like somebody made changes to the car based on not what the car actually drives like, but what they think it should drive like. Like they got used to driving the wing car and go, oh well, the non-wing car should drive like this, except just less aero. So it's not. It is not as good as it was even, I would say, 3 builds ago. It was still pretty good. And I don't know what happened. And if you read, well, you Austin can't, but if you go into the forums, there's like a big internal debate on the car because now it doesn't do things like it should.
I mean, I think it's been since like the second season of the Pro late model and the Super late model that it's drove anywhere worth a damn.
I
But
can
then
see
you just
that.
add in, but didn't you just add in the fact there's a freaking like outdoor, the track itself is just freaking broken. And that's mostly where all the races for that car, those cars are good at. Charlotte and Knoxville do a good race too, but there's the super weight model does not race very well at all the tracks.
No,
Good. It's good at Kokomo.
that's
not
because
the
the car
Super.
takes up the whole.
Well,
Make
yeah,
it sideways, the whole thing's blocked.
it's fun.
Oh, it's fun. That's the kind of crap I enjoy doing. Like, I took a bunch of guys from a bunch of people from Discord and gave them a lesson on how to run sprint car. And, like, I took one guy out and we did Kokomo because he was having a hell of a time trying to get around Kokomo. I'm like, you know, this is ran low, we ran high, slick, all the stuff. And I enjoy doing that, and it frustrates me that I don't feel like I'm teaching somebody properly when it doesn't react the way it should. Like, it completely dissuades me from wanting to even try it.
Yeah, I had all intentions like a couple months ago coming back to iRacing, just racing dirt. And then I got frustrated. I'm like, nope. This is worse off than when I quit racing a year ago.
Home turf, where you want to drop?
Right up there. We might actually have to start around here, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't know if we can make it that far.
My question, Billy, is how often do these guys actually watch uh, races from the cars they're modeling? Like, I know it sounds like a really stupid question, but like for me,
But it's not.
like, let's say for when we were working on P cars too, like to get the draft right, like I watched onboards of Indy cars and Cup cars, which are, you know, definitely not the best cars in the game, right? But I still wanted to get relatively them close to what their real life capabilities are, because it's a sim, right? So I physically would like sit and watch and be like, no, the draft is too strong, we're hitting the wrong speeds,
Right.
etc., etc. Like it sounds like these guys don't even do that, and that's kind of terrifying.
Well,
I mean, they're passionate, obviously. I don't want to like sit here and be like, these guys just don't give a fuck, because that's not true. We know that's not true, but
right. That yeah.
yeah.
I when I was talking to them, they were in an area that they really didn't understand. So, for instance, I had to tell them that when they were trying to understand how the dirt works, and I was like, know when it goes shiny, that's not, that's just from the abrasion and smoothing the dirt out. If you take a spoon on a dry piece of dirt, you can get the same color. Just call that blue grooving. That's not rubber, because they kept trying to say that was rubber. I said that's not rubber, and it's like glass. It's like ice. It's really slick there.
Okay.
But once it heats up enough, that is a function of the tire creating friction and sliding across and starting to wear out the good parts of the track, the stuff that's real nice and tacky, and then it's digging, literally digging down through to try to get to the base of the track, and it's heating it up. So like when you run late models and stuff, those things hold the heat into the track. All that plays into how that track starts to blue groove. And when the track starts to blue groove, it has one of two options. Either it seals over because the heat didn't get kept into the track, if that makes sense. Or if it does and the tires are hot enough, that's when it starts to lay rubber. So I was trying to explain this concept of, and they couldn't understand. I literally had to go in my backyard and take a spoon and then go to a dirt patch and then go, here's before, and then I literally for 3 minutes took the spoon and just went back and forth in the spot and created the same look. And then took another photo and said, here, this is what all I did was make it hot. Here you go.
The mental image I have of this is beautiful.
But
It
you know
really
what?
is.
It's awesome and sad at the same time. It's the fact that you went through the effort to do that just because you're so passionate about it being right at some point, and like they like were just not understanding it, and that's the people we're relying on. And it's not like they're
They're not
doing
bad
anything
people,
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
It was just they didn't understand. It's just the same thing with the tires. They did not understand how soft those tires are until Christopher Bell literally got them a tire and cut it up for them.
that's something I actually told Austin.
Yep. Yep.
Back, I think it was the winter of last year, 2018.
Yep.
I was driving home from Pennsylvania, and I went through a place in New Jersey that had like all these sprint cars for a local track, all like winged and non-winged sprint cars, on display in the mall. And the only reason I went there was because we were like, I was helping my parents like take apart my grandparents' house that they had in Pennsylvania, and she saw the ad and she was like, "Do you want to stop there on the way back?" Because I went with her, and I was like, "Yeah," because she knows I obviously knows I love racing. So I'm like walking through, I'm looking at all these cars, I'm like, this is pretty fucking awesome, etc. Because even stationary race cars are fascinating to me. And I just put like I'm just touching all the tires, and I'm like these are at room temperature, in like probably like 55, 60 degrees inside this old mall in the winter, and it's like they are still sticky, and it's yeah. And I think that's something that iRacing just never fucking got, even with the asphalt tires. It's like how grippy tires are, like, and I say this like from time to time, like on here, but it's like the summer tires on my car, like when they're hot, they are fucking sticky as can fucking be. Like, it's, you almost have to, like, there's times when I'm driving my car and I'm like, not super dangerous, but like, when I'm just like, whipping through some curves and shit on my way home, and I'm like, wow, I mean, like, I wonder what I would have to do to break traction and actually do something stupid enough to hurt myself in this car.
Well, yeah, and that's what kind of frustrates me, especially with, I don't particularly care for the road racing stuff. It doesn't feel good to me.
Dude, I did 3 hours in the 12 hours of Sebring in the 488 GT. I wanted to fucking hang myself. It's the worst thing I've ever done in sim
Oh.
racing.
I told you not to, bro.
I did the 488 with the Simpit guys last year, and
Awesome,
I
we
just
gotta get out of here.
Yep.
oh, it's not for me. It's not a fun car, and
Like eggshells.
yeah,
Like,
you're
if
I
you
racing
slide,
like you're
you-
connected.
yeah. If you slide, your delta just goes bup, 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 bup. Horrible.
The iRacing 488 and the Audi GT3 car both suffer from the same problem, is that there's something wrong with the rear shocks or the way that the rear springs work, because as soon as those cars, you could tell when they get loaded too much, the springs and the shocks, that they just stop working and the car probably bottoms out and hits the rear diffuser on the track, and it's over. There's
Shocks are a bad thing, actually, all the way across iRacing.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for confirming what we've been talking about the last month or so since I got back onto like sim racing serious. Is that yeah? There's something very very wrong with the shocks. A buddy, I think you guys probably heard this last night, but me and a buddy were driving the super late model, the asphalt one, and I'll give them credit. That car does feel very good, but the shame of it is, it's like you get to a point and you're tuning on the car, and it becomes very obvious that there's nothing else you can do to the car
Yeah.
because the shocks will not allow you to fine tune anything else. It's just there. It's like the shocks, and my buddy said the shocks are just basically on or off. It's like they're either on, off, and usually off is better because you'll suck the car down more and it'll end up having more downforce, and you'll deal with the shit ride quality because that's just the way it works.
If I'm not mistaken, the V8 supercar guys figured this out, that the shocks are pretty much, I won't say they're useless, but they're very limited in their scope. And then when I was helping, I was saying, well, I typically on a short track would run like a 3.9 on the left rear, which is a tie down, and the right rear I'd run like at a 5.5, and so I'm like given these numbers, and they're like, yeah, you can mess with all that, but there's only like a small window those shocks do anything. Now, from what I understand, they have improved that, but I still don't think, my opinion, I still don't think they react the way I think a shock should react.
I'm gonna cross Austin.
Well, the problem is, like, to simulate the actual behavior of a shock, like one-to-one, is something modern PCs can't do, so you have to use, like, an approximation. At least that's the explanation I've heard. And the approximation is suboptimal.
Yeah, but you would think that you have all these smart people, right? You have all these people with engineering degrees, and well, maybe I'm giving them too much credit. I mean, I don't think I am, but
Well, do other games have this problem? Like you're allowed to, if you want to rip on P cars, you can. Like, I don't mind. It's not.
there are the biggest gripe I have with most sims for me is the shock slash lack of hell when you're at the limit. Because in a car, it's more gradual. Only in a car that would have really high downforce is it going to snap and get away from you. And you can even watch those guys still save the car. But it's the information that is being displayed on the screen, or if you're a person that likes it through the wheel, what have you. That is what I always kind of get nitpicky about, is that particular part of the car. Because there are some cars that do it well, but I think for the most part, it's still like this black hole that nobody's quite figured out yet. So like you were talking about the what was it, the late model or the super late model?
Yeah.
Like I really like how that car drives in iRacing.
Oh, they get a lot of credit. It's probably their best oval effort. The best, oh, their second best. The best is the tour mod. Tour mod feels unbelievable. It
I said with their old one, I thought it was a blast to drive. It gives you that feeling. Now once the tires break free,
Also, I got SKS here.
Nice.
Take
For
it.
you, for me? Okay.
Yes, I got one already.
like once the tires break free in iRacing, that's a whole different story. But there are
Right
cars
here.
in there that when you get to the edge, it's I think P Cars 2 has some cars that do it real well, and I think some of them don't do it very well. But I would say that that's kind of across the board for most.
So there's not really one dev who's figured it out more than the other, because like you're essentially looking at three main physics engines fueling sim racing. You're looking at the GPL engine, which is iRacing. You're looking at ISI motor, which is R Factor, AMS, Race Room, to some
Level 2
extent
best here.
P Cars, and then you're looking at the Kunos engine, whatever they've called it. I'm just gonna call it AC for now. So out of those three, is there anyone that gets it more right than others?
I would say more often than not, I'm more comfortable in a race room car or like an R Factor car.
So ISI then. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
I'd
So
agree with that.
that to me, but it doesn't always work. I remember when they came out with the Radical, and I was just like, what happened here? Well, this doesn't. I've driven a Radical. This doesn't feel like one at all. Um, so I don't know. It seems to be so hit and miss. Sometimes it's frustrating, I feel like, and I was really hoping that with the AC guys putting their effort into one class of car, I really wanted it to be this bright spot. Like, look, this is what you can do when you focus on one thing and do it really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, what we got was something that was half-baked, in my opinion. And then I just tried it today, because I know they're coming out with that tire model.
Yep.
And they've changed something. I hate the way the cars drive now. I thought the cars, at least when they first came out to 1.0, I really liked driving them. Because I thought I thought it gave me that feeling. Like, I was like, dude, I feel like I'm part of the car. This is awesome.
I haven't really played it since 1.0. You've worried me very much now.
Oh,
So-
Yeah, because we were just actually talking about how when we
Hey,
played
maybe
it, we
it's
thought
just
it was
me.
the best feeling game by far, but there's
Right,
nothing
it's
to
just
do
you.
in it.
I just tried it, like, because like I said, that they've got 1.07, and we may or may not talk about it on the podcast, so I try to be prepared. And I was like, I need to do some laps so I'm familiar with the change that they're making.
For open,
I know I
by the
don't
way.
need to do that, but I get over paranoid about that stuff to make sure that I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's when I'm talking to somebody about it. And to me, it feels different. Something's changed. And I asked a couple people, and they said they did make a tire change since 1.0. They've made a couple physics and aero changes. Like,
So my
Why?
question is, they rebuild a whole game after 10 tire models, and they're still tweaking the tire models, and every tire model drives completely different, but this one's the most realistic. We promise, guys. There's enough tire models across 2 AC games for each of them to have an arena football team.
right? It's so frustrating.
It's like
'Cause-
what iRacing has done for years. This is the most realistic, we swear, guys. Oh, but the next build drives completely different. Well, what happened?
Yeah, everyone swears blind from the devs to the fans that, oh, this is the most realistic. Comes out with an
Yeah.
update, completely changes, and it's like, I don't know who to fucking trust anymore. Like, come on.
Well, and how many times we end up hearing that, I just want to vomit, because it's like,
Yep.
don't do, but you don't understand.
Billy,
It's-
were you around iRacing when they did the iRacing 2.0 beta.
Oh.
No.
Ooh.
Cover me for a second. There's SLR here.
So you like that was by far iRacing's probably best oval tire model. Was
Yeah.
the beta tire model that
This
was
is
there for
something-
like 4 weeks.
This is something
then
that
just
we
disappeared.
frequently, do like
Like, because week 13 was the weekend before Watkins Glen, which would technically be this weekend right now. And then the next week was so like all these testing sessions were up for Watkins Glen with all the Cup cars and everything. And so we did all this testing for the whole week just at Watkins Glen, all 3 top cars, right? Lap
Just
time
run.
changed. It changed the tire completely. Like somebody complained that the tires had too much fall off if you heat up the right rear tire if you got loose once.
But what you were
Then
able to do was you were able to lift and get the tire back in line and cool it off.
Like
It's
5
something
or
you
6
can't do.
laps.
How long ago was this?
2011.
2011.
2012, 2011.
Okay, so this, yeah, that was before I started messing with that.
But there was these 3 weeks. One week was at Texas, and I thought I lost the race early because I got loose and like wrecked the car sideways and came back.
Oh
30
my
laps
god.
later.
Behind us? Behind
No,
us.
he's right here.
Oh shit.
Came back later and like passed a lot of people like what I thought after he killed the car because I was loose because that's how iRacing was at one point. Once you got the car loose, you were done. You'd never get back. But I was able to cool the tire back down. Got back
Yeah,
into a rhythm,
so-
started passing cars again.
What you're supposed to do, right? I mean,
Right.
that's how it's supposed to work.
But-
I have always made the argument that a more complicated tire is not a better tire.
But
I spent
Well, that was probably more complicated than for the casual driver to understand. But somebody in their upper echelon complained about it, and they changed
the
it.
DWC drivers complained about it because you had a whole bunch of races where guys like me and Travis, who were like perennial like 3,000 iRating guys, who
Which
were able to
we were
run
just-
with and beat them.
We were just,
That
you know,
was
we
the
were on
hang-up.
the cup. We were on the cup of just below DWC, just like below them, but better than everybody else.
And all they did
And-
was complain for fucking 3 weeks straight that the cars don't turn, they feel very tight. No, it was just that you couldn't fucking sling them into the corner and drive it sideways like you did for years on the old tire model. You had to actually like be thoughtful with what you were doing, and it was just like completely like a no-go for everybody who was in like, you know, who had the black bumpers. I fucking walked Mike Conti for an entire race at New Hampshire on that thing when it came out, until he decided to dump me on lap 98 of 100, and then was like, "Oh, sorry, LOL." And that kid's like been in like the fucking all those top echelon series now for like ever.
Well, and what I meant by complicated was the math that's been put into the tire.
I know
Okay.
what you meant. I was just
Yeah.
playing. The way you had to treat the tire was complex for the
Sure.
everyday driver.
But that's part of, in my opinion, that's part of learning. If you're going to a service like iRacing, that's part of the learning process. I did not understand how to run an oval car on asphalt. Because my dirt background tells me to drive that fucking thing as hard as you can into the corner until the track slicks off, and now you gotta start being patiently aggressive with the car.
You'd have been
So
fine
I-
on the old tire model then, because that's how you had to drive the old tire model on iRacing.
So
I've joked with everybody that the old tire model is what they use for dirt.
Wow.
Because that's
funny.
how you have. I mean, you literally, because you know the K&N car that iRacing has now, that used to be the B car before we got the new tire model, and you'd be going down the straightaway, going to the corner, you're going down the straightaway. You're like at like probably 1 o'clock. You go in the turn 1 at like Texas or Atlanta. You're turning the freaking 4 o'clock in the center of the corner just to keep it from spinning. And then you go back to 1 o'clock down the back straightaway, back to 4 o'clock. You never turned right in the car. That's how you freaking drive on dirt. And the late models, at least, or the pro late model.
Yeah. So, like, my brain, when I got, going, I was driving it too hard. I'd either burn off the right front, or I was actually slower by using the brake. And I had to learn, and to Austin's point about watching, I watch people. What I did with the sprint car, I'd stand, my local track was like the best place to learn, just because during qualifying, you could stand on the infield and watch the guys brake, you throttle, where they're setting the car. So I learned a lot by just watching. And that's what I get frustrated with sometimes is, oh, it's so realistic. And I'm like, the guy's hands. Are you watching your hands while you're driving? Now watch somebody that's actually driving that car. Watch their hands. What in what you're driving looks anywhere remotely close to what that person's driving on an in-car camera?
Well, yeah. That
Okay.
goes back to the point I made where it's like, okay, like as a dev, you've finished, let's say, your first pass, they'd call it, of a physics. It's like, okay, you're done your first draft. You're going to start testing. Do you not look at onboard cams and be like, this isn't even close. We have a problem, right? How do you then ship that to your customers and charge $14.95 per car? And I'm not even just saying this in the case of iRacing, because other games are guilty of it too, right? Like, I'm trying to be fair here so I don't get in shit, right? But, like, it's true. You have, like, the most amount of footage you've ever had to compare your work to. And you can physically go see the wheel inputs, the throttle inputs, all that fun stuff, all the telemetry. And you can see that it's just not even close. And then you ship it anyway.
To be
Well,
fair,
That
I think Chris will contest to this. The Super White mod and the Tour mod right now.
Yeah, that's what
Both,
we said, right?
you can wheel the shit out of that car, and like, it's not like just sitting there. Okay,
Right.
9 o'clock.
I would agree.
Okay, rotate slowly back out to 12. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm coming off the corner. Like, I'm gonna have to put a wheel to the right because I'm a little loose coming off the corner. Back off the throttle a little bit, get it back under control. I'm good to go again. But yeah,
But
there's
in my opinion, I think that's how, when I see those guys, I've never gotten to drive one of those cars, so I don't know for positive. But I feel like with all the different stuff I've raced and gotten to hot lap and stuff, I may not understand. I think somebody was actually making the comment earlier. I may not understand exactly what the car should drive like, but I have a fair approximation of what that car should do. I've driven a car with downforce. I've driven a car with no downforce. Driven on dirt. I've driven on asphalt. I've road raced. So it's like I have an idea how that car should drive. Now I would defer to, like, if we were to take Austin's car and have that exact car in a sim, let's say, I would sit there and I would go, here's what my approximation of this car would feel like. Now Austin gets to take it and go, here's the fine-tuned parts of it. You need to change this, this, and this. But the box that you started in is much more narrow, rather than, sometimes it feels like a grab bag. Like the idea of, and I think this is a holdover from older sim racers, tends to, if it's the only way to drive a car is if it's difficult.
Yeah.
It has to be trying to kill you in order for it to be quote unquote real. And so when I was trying to help with the dirt car, the dirt stuff, I was also helping with the road racing stuff and the cups cars as well. And I had arguments about, not arguments, but discussions about, this doesn't feel good. The cup car doesn't feel good. Well, how do you think guys like Larson and Junior and some of these guys run right next to the wall? Now,
Shit,
there's a
tons of
couple things.
downforce.
yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a couple problems there though. They don't pack the air right against
Yep.
the wall, basically. That's not modeled. There's your first problem. So now, in my opinion, you need to do something else, simulate that.
We're gonna go
And
here.
If the car just hangs
Sounds
out
good.
at nowhere,
Try to avoid Los Leones because there's going to be a ton of people there.
I like Billy. Can we keep him?
Billy's like if me and Austin could articulate exactly what we're feeling, but like less cursing and less memes.
Yep. Spot on.
But you know, the way I grew up, F word is like one of the first things I learned. So
I'm actually, I tone myself down pretty well, especially when I'm conversing about a topic that I want to sound at least semi-coherent about.
yeah, but like what you said is something that we said on PRC forever, was that uh, cars don't try to murder you, especially when you put bigger tires on them that are stickier, and you put suspension on them that's designed to work under extreme conditions. Put downforce on them that's supposed to make everything, all of those, the prior to, even better. It's like that's just not the way these things work.
Ian Bell
And
described it in an interesting way. He called them self-aligning.
I would agree with that. That makes sense. Because like in the sprint car, get the car going through the corner correctly, you're really not turning a whole lot. You're just kind of hanging on to the wheel for something to hang on to.
Old tire model, Travis.
God damn.
When the setup was right on the old tire model, you hardly turned the wheel throughout the corner until the tires really fell off.
Sure.
Once the tires were shot, then you really started turning left, and you were like, okay, now I got to start cranking some wheel into the corner.
Well, I run every once in a while a 125 shifter on big road courses like Laguna and Sonoma and stuff like that, tracks around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I came from a sprint car where, you know, your hands are doing a lot, but because of the play, you know, your steering box, steering gears that have flex in the tie rod and all this kind of stuff. So you get a lot of deflection in the front end that your hands aren't really doing. But because of that, you're always moving your hands. I mean, you're constantly moving your hands. So then I get in this cart, and it took me like 2 races to calm my hands down because I was so used to just, I'm gonna drive this fucking thing in as hard as I can and just wrench the wheel in whatever direction the corner's going, and boy, the car would just like, pew! It would like head for the infield. Oh shit! So I had to calm my hands down, and you are barely turning, and if you're,
Chris,
it's just one of those things. If you're going into a slow corner, yes, you're going to turn more. A hairpin, you're physically going to turn the wheel more. You have to. But I don't know. I watch some of this stuff. It's like today in ATC, I'm turning the wheel, I feel, way more than I feel like I should. The bizarre feeling.
Chris,
Yes.
you watched my K&N race the other day.
Yeah.
Remember how much I was turning the wheel in that thing? Like,
Dude,
I'm just sitting there breathing on it left and right, driving through the field. That was nutty.
Well,
Why
I'll
am
go
I
run
only
the
getting 6
trucks.
frames?
I'll
Go
go
ahead.
run the trucks with the Simpid guys every once in a while, and you know, if you don't murder your tires in the first couple laps, just put a little wheel into it. I'd enjoy running the trucks. I don't know how correct they are because I just don't know, but I enjoy running the trucks because, you know, the skill gap is a little less, so you kind of get a little bit more door-to-door action with them, and we've got a handful of fast guys, so we all kind of migrate towards the front, and we actually have pretty good races, you know, especially like at an Iowa or something like that. I mean, we're taking a bunch of different lines, but I mean, I'm not putting in a ton of wheel into it, so that in my brain makes sense to me. I feel like what's happening on the screen, I don't know how true it is, but it makes sense.
I mean, the truck has always generally been something that wasn't terrible in iRacing.
And then it's wrecking Lucid Daytona.
Well, that's you could blame that on this. You could blame that on the setup. I don't know particularly, but
It's set up.
that we could bitch about my other amazing thing about iRacing. It's like, I'm not the greatest, but I'm not a complete shitter like some of these other guys are. And I guess my point is that these guys are practicing from the second that the week turns over on Monday. I get home from work, run 2 laps qualifying, and I'm ready to race, and I could drive safely, but people who've been racing all week can't even hold the truck in a straight line.
Yeah.
And that happened to me again this week with the A car at Pocono. 2 practice laps. Qualifying. Got in the car. Nobody could hold a straight line. I'm okay.
That's
Nobody else is.
definitely an interesting topic in regards to sim racing. Is just like it surprises me how bad people are.
Well, I think people.
I might die here. Oh, I'm okay. That was a lot higher jump than I thought it was, but I'm good.
Now watching Austin go down stairwell.
But yeah, that was I was this close to tweeting about it. Oh, that'll really show him, I know. But after the Simpit race at Suzuka, there was a huge like turn 1 wreck, and it's like, okay, you buy the wheel, you invest in like the sim racing system sign up process, and then you just don't give a fuck after that.
We could run in. Awesome.
I actually think it's over practicing. I really do, because the problem is aren't limited like you are in the real world.
Yeah.
So in the real world, we only get. I mean, I don't know about Austin, but like when I go do
Dirt, you get fuck all.
Yeah, the sprint car stuff, we get like 3 practice laps and we're done.
Yep.
So you've got to be on top of your shit, and so most of your learning is done in traffic, in racing conditions, which forces you to have to learn how to change your line constantly and not fly off the track. And I think one of the problems, and you're never going to get away from this, is, at least that I can think of, is you have this endless amount of time to turn 1 billion laps by yourself.
Austin, come here. We're going to take a flyer on this this end game, and we're going to take the boat to one of those islands.
10-4.
So you have 1 billion laps to turn by yourself, and they never learn what happens when you actually have to pass a car and move offline. What happens when you don't get the same run out of a corner that you need to adjust, going into the next corner.
I've never thought of that before, but that makes way too much sense.
That's always something that I've, when people ask, how do they get better? I say, turn laps to get familiar with the course, obviously. Like, you don't want to make a left when you're trying to make a right. So you need to turn laps to learn the course. And it's good to get in laps to understand when the tires fall off, theoretically, if they're falling off. Things like that. But do not put a whole lot of stock in trying to hot lap. Because what it does is it teaches you, you talked about bad habits in that video, it teaches you really, really bad habits about how to not adjust. Like, I got into a discussion about braking markers.
That's not
braking markers are great to begin with, but you better throw those out the window when you start racing half the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody's either going to take them out, something's going to change and it's not going to be there, or you're trying to pass somebody and your braking point changes. So you need to be looking into the corner, to understand that relationship of distance.
Yeah.
And make an adjustment.
I was guilty of this at Donington, the Simpit race, because going into the chicane.
Oh, you got it, Carmen. Take this.
Like, towards the end of the lap, there's that chicane. And I just got absolutely brake checked going in, because the guy ahead of me, I spun out and fell down the field, and the guy ahead of me just braked way too early. But I was fixated on the marker instead of him, or considering that, this guy might brake earlier. So, yeah. Wise words.
Yeah, but it's something I don't fault somebody for when they're learning, but I will fault somebody when they've turned endless amounts of laps.
Oh yeah,
because this is part of the learning process, and I feel like part of the problem with sim racing is there's no real school to tell you, like, here's how racecraft. I couldn't tell you how annoyed I was watching that Formula E race, in the Vegas race,
Yes.
and watching those guys do just absurd moves.
Yeah.
Absurd. What the fuck are you doing? Like,
Billy's fucking heated.
but it,
This is Billy Strange After Hours right now. I
Right.
love this.
but it's frustrating because you want it. You've got a platform in that instance, and you want to portray this in a good light, so that, in my opinion, not so much everybody take us seriously. It's more like, no, I want more people to do this. And when you make it look like a shit show, nobody wants to do it. This is like, well, why do I want to spend endless? This is part of the irritation I have with iRacing and the oval stuff. Why do I want to spend all my time under yellow? Because people can't drive. It does everything a disservice, and I really think it's because people hot lap instead of using the races practice and understand racecraft
Uh-oh.
and to develop
Uh-oh.
racecraft.
Boost. That makes a lot of sense, though. Because, I mean, and you can see it in the Mossport race that we ran. I don't know if you tuned in last night because I was busy with the race, but the actual qualifying times compared to what me and Ethan put down, which is more or less alien. There's guys quicker than us, but low 15s was fast. And I think there's 8 or 9 guys within a second of us, which is really good. It really is, right?
Yeah, that is.
And then they all just like fell off.
Yep.
So it means
They don't know how to.
Yeah.
But I mean, I run into that in the real world too.
Yeah.
I mean, you see guys be heroes and then not be able to do anything later. Or some guys excel, and that's part of racing. Some people excel in certain formats, let's say,
Yeah.
than other people, and I never used to be a really good qualifier until I kind of threw caution to the wind. And I mean, and let me tell you, I fucked it up a couple times too. So I mean, it's a learned skill, just like all of it. It's a
Yeah.
learned skill to do a sprint race. It's also a learned skill to do hour-long, a 2-hour-long, an endurance race. Like those to me are different skills you have to develop. And the only way you develop those things is A, completing all the laps in the race, and B, being around other cars on the flipping track. I see these guys that get upset with passes and stuff like this, and I'm like, in what world would you get mad at somebody, turn down on them? Why are you getting upset? The guy was at your door before going into the corner. In what world do you decide, this is my line, hi, here I go, I turn? Not how it works. But people get pissed about that, and it's like, it's like, this is racing, this is what you're supposed to do. And it's because people get locked into line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I really have nothing to
can't
add to
think-
that.
He articulates for all of us, like.
Well,
Web-
I think for me, like, I've been locked into this notion that people aren't practicing, because like when you go out and you turn, let's say, practice laps or Q laps, like there were a ton of wrecks in qualifying last night at Mossport,
Yeah.
and you really only see the wreck. You don't see how it developed. And now thinking back again, that's why I brought up the time gap. Like, everyone actually put down a pretty good lap. Like, I was really impressed with the pace. Even guys like Sean Seabrand, who's like kind of mid-pack and kind of struggling, like, he got really quick. But
Yep.
then you see all these wrecks, and it's like, well, how are these wrecks occurring? And then you start to see, wait, when one car started spinning, there was another car that was kind of not too far by, right? And then what Billy's saying makes more sense. In
We gotta
that,
go back to the boat.
yeah, we're
Yeah, these guys are trying to emulate what they've done in their practice. So they are pushing 11 tenths, trying to hit that lap that they did before. So they're wrecking.
Yep.
Instead of, in the real world, I get 2 laps for qualifying. So my first lap is slightly conservative, and my second lap is, well, I'm either
Fucking
going to
send
end
it.
up in Costco, or I'm going to make the corner. I did. I went and did a World of Outlaw race, the Gold Cup at Chico, and I had this guy helping us that was a family friend, but he went on to he crew chief for Tyler Walker and all this stuff. And so we go to the Gold Cup. He's been helping me for a few races, and he just literally looks at me. He's all, "Whatever you do, your foot in it, because the car will make it." And you know, we're freaking 410s. The motor we had was a Tony Stewart racing engine. It had like iridium rods or whatever it is, and beryllium rods in it. It was just, this thing was stupid. Almost 1,000 horsepower. I mean, it's just freaking dumb. And that engine never stopped pulling. Like I had one other 410, and it kind of did the peak thing where it kind of peters out about halfway down the straightaway. Even though it was running out of gear, it was still pulling. It was one of the most jaw-dropping things I've ever done. And so I go out for qualifying, and I've stood there and I'm watching all the World of Outlaw guys on the back straight. I'm watching these guys qualify. Sammy Swindell goes out, and he just looks like he never lifts. And I look at my brother, I'm like, "You gotta do that shit? Are you fucking kidding me?" And then my brother, he's like, "Well, yeah." I'm like, "Fuck." And then that's when my crew chief pats me on the chest just before I go, and he's all, "It will stick." Okay. So I go out there, and boy, the first lap I was a pussy. I did like this little baby lift going into 1. I'm like, okay, that felt pretty good. So I go into 3, and I just, you know, to get those cars
right
to
here,
work.
next to us.
Up on the cliff. 2 of them, 2 times. Yep, they watched us. They looked us in. Okay, that's one. Another guy?
I know, I'm hurt.
Oh, shit.
Get those cars to work, you ride the brake going into the corner. Keeps the suspension loaded.
He missed me.
So in 3 and 4, I ride the brake, and then for the second lap of qualifying, I'm like, okay, well, I've made one good lap. I think I was like 7th on the board or what. And I just left my foot in it, and it just screamed around the track. And I literally went into turn 3, and there's a Costco past the parking lot. I was like, I literally had the thought going down the straightaway, I'm either going to make it or I'm going to end up in Costco. And that thing stuck going right around the corner, and we qualified, I think it was like 3rd or 4th.
Oh, wow.
At the Gold Cup. Like, and my crew chief was like, "Fuck yeah, motherfucker, that's how you do that shit." And, you know, he was like, he was so stoked. I was stoked. I was like, holy shit. Then we proceeded to have problems. But at least that one was a bright moment. But then that goes back to how difficult race cars are actually to drive, and that gets subject that get.
Well, they really are. They're self-aligning.
You can take a semi-competent driver. I mean, if the person has no clue how to drive, then obviously they're gonna end up in the fence. But if you have a semi-competent person making laps, they're gonna be able to get around the track. They're not gonna be the fastest thing ever, but they're gonna be able to make laps. So with certain exceptions to like a sprint car, or like something that is super downforce laden, because that takes a little different mindset to drive. Things not hard to get around the track. They're hard to go fast. They're hard to be at that upper echelon, the upper podium, or whatever you want to call it.
And then you climb into a sim, and the car tries to kill you leaving pit lane.
Don't understand how hard it was. Well, maybe you do, but it was so hard for me to go from racing a car IRL and jumping into sim racing. Like, what F? I signed up for iRacing in 2014, 13, something like that. I tried driving the cars. I'm all, this is ass, and I canceled my subscription. I did. I absolutely hated it. a little bit comes with that, and I didn't understand certain things. But those are the things we fight for new people,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing that tells somebody, hey, you've got to make sure your degrees of rotation are correct. Hey, you've got to make sure this is correct and this is correct, and make sure, it's kind of like, here, take this, and trial by fire.
Yeah, and I touched on that at the end of my video, because that is a very serious issue that plagues sim racing, is that the configuration process has so many little things that you can fuck up, and you would never know unless you had a buddy in the hobby. You would just never know.
Well, I remember I bought one of the first, better monitors I bought that said it could be overclocked to allow 85 hertz from 60. I'm like, cool. So I go overclock this thing to, I think I did 80. I'm playing Dirt Rally, and it feels weird. What the hell? Well, maybe this is just kind of how I have to get used to it. I finally figured out through a test it was actually skipping frames because the monitor actually didn't really want me to do the overclocking.
And again, you just never know.
Right.
You'd have no idea.
It's all these little things that you just don't know that I don't know. I wish there was a way to. I can make all the videos I want
Yep.
about do this and do this, but you got half the people. It's just like when I owned my slot car store. I would sit there and I would show people, this is how you set up a car. This is how you drive one of these cars. And then they go read a bunch of forums, and then they come back the next time, and they can't get around the track. I'm like, what happened? Oh, well, I was reading this forum, and I opened their car. I'm like, why did you do that? I showed you how to do this. And then because some guy says he's fast from who knows where, and you don't see the guy drive the car, you don't see him do anything, and he says, put the weight up at the guide flag for non-magnet racing, and it's like, that unhooks the rear end of the car. What are you doing? So it's the same thing. You have people that I can make all the videos I want, and then they're just going to go watch somebody else. They're going to go, well, I'm going to go do this because this guy's, number one on whatever leaderboard.
You essentially need the first-time user experience and some of the default settings to just work out of the box. And that's something. I hope for our next work projects that have not been announced yet. But I'll try and be vague here. Obviously, we're making a racing game.
Cars 13.
Obviously,
PG?
obviously, we're making a racing game, and there's going to be wheel support, right? So P-Cars 2 had it where the force feedback values by default were cranked the fuck up, right? It was 150-50. Well, no, that causes clipping in the FFB.
Yep.
And we in this room all know that you turn the shit down. You turn to 25, and it's fine. You never touch it again. But that's 1 out of 25 people who play the game. The other 24 are going to be like, wow, this feels like shit. Take this back to the store. Or even stuff like the HUD elements. Let's say for Project Cars 2, you can actually make P-Cars 2 UI. I know people don't really like it. You can make it look really nice by just turning off some of the widgets you don't need and just rearranging stuff. And
that's what I do.
Yeah.
Here.
And
I actually like P-Cars in that aspect that I can play with the HUD on there because that's the same reason I like AC.
Yep.
I can move that shit around. I can blow it up, shrink it down.
Yep.
That's so then I only have the information that I want.
Yeah, but these people, they don't know that.
Right.
So they're driving with a HUD that maybe doesn't look the best. There's all these little functionality things that it's just rough.
Yeah, it's tough. You're trying to appeal to a wide. I guess this goes back to the original point about the iRacing thing. Is you're trying to appeal to a wide range of people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it easy to figure out how to appeal to everybody when everybody wants something different. And you're like, okay, where do I start?
I can tell you right now, using an engine from 2000 probably would be a good thing to change.
But you know what?
I
The
don't-
engine
I don't even want
itself
to talk
is good.
about that one. That's,
See, I'm one of the guys, like, I've spent so much time in NASCAR 03. Maybe not as much time as you, Travis, because you actively played it in leagues and such. But, like, I've played
I
it
mean,
enough
I
to
was in
know.
quite a few leagues back
Yeah.
then. I was in the 2002 league and a 2003 league.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 12 years old at the time. I was the kid I hated
Yeah.
when I turned 20.
Yep.
You know, I was that kid going into these big league races, like, watch me, guys, I would kick your ass, you know, and freaking out driving them, you know. And
But, like, the point still stands is, like, I think that engine is good.
it's a good
Fundamentally,
engine.
Yeah,
It's a great engine, but to fix the shock issue,
that's true.
the game has
It's-
to be completely redesigned because there's no way you can make the shocks work in NR 2003. Period.
that was something that we fought. Was if something had the major issue, it was not as simple as I imagine it to be. I have
Oh boy.
I have done a little bit of side work for some other sims that I can't say, but it is apparent how much easier it could be if it was a newer engine, because they really have to go through a lot of work, which is unfortunate, which I think actually slows down some of their processes of developing things, and they've stated as much. They're working on something that it's got so many spider legs going everywhere that they do one thing and then it breaks something else, and they're like, oh, well, it's the same thing the R Factor 2 guys are dealing with
Yeah.
with their UI.
They're what I'm thinking of, like, what's the shock factor like in something like BNG or Wreckfest like that, where it has, you know, the car falls apart? Like, do the shocks actually work in those games either?
I don't know. That's a good question.
You know, it's like,
Super surprised when I was playing Wreckfest how intuitive it is.
Wreckfest
Which
feels
is-
like street stocks with traction control. It's great.
It does. It does. It's bizarre. I wasn't expecting that. So Wreckfest is actually really fun because it kind of gives you, to a degree, a lot of the things that you need. I don't know how good the shocks are in it because, if I remember correctly, there's very limited adjustments you can make, and it's not
Right.
anything in depth. So I don't know how you would be able to pinpoint if it is or is not shocks making a difference.
the
BeamNG,
biggest
I
adjustment in
don't
that
have.
thing is, the biggest adjustments in Wreckfest is like, change your brake bias for better turning ability. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
What's brake bias have to do with making the car turn better? I mean, I know what it does, but it's like, this makes sense.
Incredible.
I mean, but like, what? We've been using the same engines for like the games Augie just said earlier. They haven't really updated their engines on any of these games. Like,
Cost.
it's 2019, you know? Like, are we still rating these games in freaking DOS?
No,
You know?
but like ISI motor is pretty good. Like we've talked about already through this stream, that like generally if you buy something that's running on ISI motor or a derivative, you're in for a generally pretty good experience.
But you hop in one sim that has that engine, then hop in another one. Basically, it feels the same, just with a different skin.
Yep.
So I'm basically buying Madden 2012 instead of Madden 09.
Oh, I see what
You
you
know?
mean. Like how it's starting to look dated.
Well, it's not look dated, but it's like, okay, you put some better paint on it. It's still the same game. You know what I mean?
Polish it,
It's like,
Yeah,
It's like-
yes and no.
I mean,
I mean-
iRacing is working on their damage model. Okay, that's great. But wouldn't that be better if you were spending all that energy into a new engine for a new damage model?
I think the problem that they have, though, and I listened to that podcast with Myers, Dale Jr.,
Oh, I still have
Tart.
to listen to that.
and so he hits on, Steve Letarte asked him, a regret, and he says, I wish we would have hired engineers much sooner. Like more engineers, not an engineer, but more engineers, so that they could have developed the sim more quickly, because I think part of their problem that they don't go to a different engine. Look at Kunos,
Yeah.
right? At least have an engine that works. It may not do everything you want, so do you keep trying to fix the one that you have to try to catch up and surpass the other people, in the industry, or do you start from scratch and then up?
So let me ask you this question: your entire time on iRacing, has it been the 64-bit engine, or were you there before they were still on the 32-bit?
Do you know when that changed over? Because I honestly don't remember.
I don't remember either because it's been so long ago. But there was a point when iRacing pulled the forums asking what kind of PCs people were using to play the game.
Oh, yeah, that
Half
was
the
interesting.
people,
I remember the
half
switch
the
on the
people,
DX, but I don't remember the switch on the 32 versus 64.
half the people were still playing using the same computer they were using for NR 2003,
Uh-huh.
and that is why they never updated their engine back then. That's what
Sure.
took us so long to go to 64-bit. That's what took so long to go from DirectX 9 to DirectX 11 when DirectX 12 was already out.
Right.
Like, they held themselves back so far because they're like, oh, we have to run this game on a 10-year-old computer.
Right.
It's
And
like,
to a degree, business-wise, that makes sense because you definitely don't want to alienate half of your
but you're
existing.
alienating the younger
Right.
generation that's
new.
building a brand new computer with a 2080 in it now.
Yep.
You know?
You're
Also,
alienating
yeah.
those people that are the
I'm
potential.
with you.
Right.
Like,
Come to me when you can.
Okay.
you have to think right now for a sim racing game, if you could somehow utilize the RTX engine in a graphics card, for not RTX stuff in a game, but for something completely different,
Sure.
like you'd be miles ahead. Like that'd be like some technology nobody else has ever even done yet, And just pull some graphics.
One for the AK, one for the.
We are in business.
Yep, I've got it 8 times on my sniper.
I had another question for you.
I figured that was by default because you got it 8 times, so I had to have one.
Yep.
Coming from the dirt side of stuff.
M24 here if you want to switch.
I'm good.
I know there's a difference between a sprint car and a dirt
Actually,
late model.
That's close.
You're not going to sit here and put a sprint car, put the right rear corner of it into the wall, and drag the wall around with the corner of the car. But with a dirt late model, you're going to put that right rear quarter panel into the wall, and if it kind of caves in a little bit, you're not going to care because it's not going to wreck the car. Do that on iRacing, the car gets slammed into the wall because the wall or the car doesn't have a crush panel, right?
Right.
Like, when does iRacing get that kind of technology where the right rear of the car kind of caves in instead of just wreck you?
Yeah, no. Instead of like the old sim models, your car is like a simple box basically of
That's all it is now.
unobtainium. But real cars have
Crush panel. Like you can
there's flex to them.
you can wrinkle a fender without wrecking your car.
Well, that's kind of what I was bitching about last night. The 2 races I ran this week, I felt like I had like incidental contact with 2 different people, and both times my car was just undrivable afterwards.
Well, yeah. Let's not paint a picture that it isn't wildly. Seems like it's inconsistent.
Consistently
stuff.
bad.
But I
But
think
is
that's a function of the online component not being able to understand. So I was listening to the iRacing podcast that Dave Cameron was on, and he talked about, when they basically, how I understand it is, there really wasn't a true sim until they got to Grand Prix Legends, because cars couldn't leave the ground and they weren't modeling a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
And when Grand Prix Legends happened, they had models for a bunch of different things. So they had like 3-piece chassis/bodies so that the car could twist, and suspension was modeled independently, and drive shafts were modeled independently. All this stuff's modeled independently so that the physics were more accurate. So in doing that, I think it makes it difficult, not that it's correct or difficult to model those types of things where you lean on the right rear with a dirt late model up against the fence, and that crushes just enough that it either pops back out or it doesn't really affect the car a whole lot. that's also related to how they calculate damage, and that's the frustrating part. At least if you're not going to model it visually correct, at least model it damage-wise correctly.
Yeah. Like, would that crush panel not actually be there, or not? Would that be part of the car 3D model or whatever?
Right. And I don't know how you fix that. Like, I'm not that smart. I don't know what the answer is for that one, but
Like, okay, so this part of this box here, this needs to be 1/3 of the resistance of what this box is, or something, you know?
yeah,
It's tough
Like-
because the engine. I don't think the engines interpret it that way. You just have
They
a
don't.
box.
This goes back to the other question: how much is the engine of NR 2003 holding back iRacing, or vice versa?
The problem is there's really been no game to fix this. Like any vehicle-based game, there's no like give to them. They're all unobtainium.
No. Wreckfest and BMG can kind of both crush the panels a little bit and not wreck the car.
Here's the thing: is BeamNG is
It's a
so
soft body physics simulator, like
Right,
it's designed to
yeah,
do that.
I know. But I'm saying is like there is physics in some of these other games that have it,
no,
but
but
not
I
full
see.
package.
no, and he's right. But the thing is, with BeamNG, the reason it's not online is because the processing power to
Oh yeah,
It's-
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I was talking with Thompson, he's like, we're talking about the shocks. We've been talking about the shocks for like the last 3 weeks on my Discord, right? When we're talking online.
yeah.
Like he's like, there isn't a computer right now strong enough, probably, to realistically model a real shock of a car with what you would need for an online sim racing game.
These are probably the discussions that the devs have had, being like, where they start hitting a wall with the tech because like they probably want to do damage like that, where you can essentially wall ride with a dirt late model and have it be
Oh, I see
effective.
them. They're very, very far.
I've got a tree in the way.
We're talking like so far that it's hardly rendering.
Oh,
What was it? Was it not the Dream? What was the race earlier this year? Yeah, it was the Dream, right? At Eldora. No, the Dream's their later race, right? Which one? There's 2 races at Eldora for the late models that are big, right? I forgot what the one
like
was called.
there's the World 100 and then the Dream.
World 100 was earlier this year, right?
I think so.
We were watching that, and me and Thompson were like, man, being able to ride the wall like that, not freaking just wreck your car because the fender just taps the wall occasionally or something. It was like talking shocks, like, God, man.
Well, again, like
We're
I would
we're
think
so far.
I would think devs would know that, but like with PCs now, you have to model cars as a simple box, and it just doesn't work right. And then they start running into, oh shit, we can't really simulate this, and then it becomes an approximation. You just have to start cutting corners, not because they're lazy, but because they have
because
to.
physically they don't have the deck.
But at the same time, though, like, there's sitting here looking at my computer, knowing other computer stuff. Most games run off of 1 core of your CPU. That's the only core that's running to play your video game. The devs, whoever are making this stuff, would have to realize how to utilize more than just 1 core of a CPU to make something. You know, like that's like, there's no game developer right now using more than 1 core on a CPU for a game. I mean, there is, but you know, like,
I haven't seen anyone here for a while.
I guess my only question with that would be, is there a reason? When it's that universal, like I always kind of get this feeling that maybe there's a reason, like they either haven't figured it out yet, or that it's so.
well, a CPU
Oh.
core count has just increased so much here recently.
Right.
Even like rendering programs, like if you went out and bought, you know, the new Ryzen processor, the top of the line, you know, there's programs that don't use that many cores for stuff because there hasn't been that many cores. Like, who's got an 18 core computer? Like, what software is gonna like know how to use 18 cores?
I could tell you, I could ask my father tomorrow. He works for Nintendo. No, I'm joking. He,
I was really about to call you out. I was like, bullshit.
no, my dad's coded. My dad's he's coded like banking systems and shit
Yeah, it's
his
the
whole
only
life.
working version of a PlayStation.
Oh, guys here, guys here.
SNES.
Wow, that is fucking bullshit. Fuck
Oh
this
my
guy's
God.
mother.
You go from Nintendo to fuck this guy's mother. I love it.
Oh fuck.
I had the fucking drop on that guy and everything. That's fucking
What
bullshit.
the fuck happened?
Two guys came around. I was on the roof behind you.
Why were you on the roof?
Because that was the right spot to be. I heard them
I
walk
wish
really
around.
that it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But I heard them come. I lined the guy doesn't see me. As soon as I start shooting, he snapped to me and fucking killed me. He was fucking.
Around
That's
the
pure
outside.
bullshit.
Around the outside.
There he is. Oh, you're done. Yep. He
nope.
did the same fucking thing to you. That's a fucking cheater.
You sure?
What
Let's
a-
check death cam.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the death cam too, but he fucking snapped pretty quick to you.
Scripted.
Ever been caught a hacker in a game before?
I have.
That's
I was
interesting.
re-
He's like, you can see him snap to like where the different people are located.
Yeah. I saw a hacker on the F1 2018 leaderboards. Like I was, okay, I'm gonna load the ghost of this sub 1 minute lap, and yep, he was just like zip, zip.
Wow.
Yeah.
We
I'm actually gonna have to load up the fucking stream to see yours now, obviously. Give me a sec.
I am gonna call it a night though, because I want to go to the Pinty's race tomorrow, and it is kind of late here. But thank you everyone for dropping by, because it's a fucking party in here. Thanks Billy for coming out and blowing people's minds wide open to the point where our chat just stopped talking, but we still
know,
have
I
like
s-
8
I
viewers.
saw that. I was like, oops.
That was good though. Yeah, you're welcome anytime just to come hang out. Doesn't matter if we're racing or just fucking around on PubG. Just something to do.
Please do.
Right on. Yeah, usually it's not till.
Yeah, so I guess what I was gonna say though, while we're all still here, is I'll try and ask and find out, like, because he's programmed banking shit for like ever, but like if there's a good reason why most stuff is handled on a single core instead of utilizing multiple cores.
I mean, Adobe Premiere and like that kind of stuff runs on more than one core, you know. But it's like there's a lot of stuff that doesn't, you know. It's like it's all single, like why single core development for gaming just so Intel stuff has been so much better for.
Right. I would just like to ask. So universal, like, why? Is it just because it won't really help, or invest that much time and money figuring out how to make multiple cores, you know, accessible for your software? Like, that's the stuff I want to talk to people about. I'm like, how does this work?
Yeah, it's definitely something I'd like to understand better too, because like here I have a 9700K that I like use 2 cores for all the time. It's like, what are the rest of those guys doing? What did I pay for them for?
They just sleeping.
And then I freaking fire up OBS and like OBS can't freaking run more than freaking 17 frames for any fucking game I'm playing right now. I don't get that one.
Alright, my dudes, well, thanks for
Oh,
coming
no,
out.
Aggie, you can't go yet.
Why?
You have to watch this with your stream still up.
What am I watching? I want to go to bed.
This is the Uno. This is the
Get him his
Uno.
milk.
Oh, I'm not showing Uno on here.
You don't
What the
have to
fuck
show
is
this.
it with you and Milk?
Just-
I don't get
just-
this name.
Just listen to it.
You know, like when it had warm milk has tryptophan in it. Like when you're a little kid, like the saying is, you know, give him warm milk to make the kid go to sleep. That time.
Oh. Well, in that case, it's my fucking milk. Get your own. It's 8 AM right now, my dude. You're still within reasonable hourage.
Yeah, it's only midnight here.
Oh, that's right.
Right, lightweight.
3 a.m. here.
Alright, well, kill the stream, and until next time, thanks for coming to hang out.
Yeah, later, Roasty.
Bye.